Hello everyone, it's Deno and Bunny.
Hello.
Hello.
We have commenced judging. We've gone off half-cocked. We've gone early.
We've pulled the trigger early.
As I'm wont to do, go off early.
Go make a schedule, break it, go against it. Throw that schedule out.
Look, it's here, it's happening. So what we've decided to do is we've decided to start the first cut, and we've made a call on that because what we want to do is we want to put every single Masters entrant on the stream. So we're going early so that we can do that. So what you're about to see is young David and also young Andrew start the and Nat, when she gets here, start the cut for this. So this will take a little bit of time. We won't be on camera showing anything off for a while. But what you will see on this angle here is that those two tables starting to fill up with models, and hopefully those will have a rough idea of where we're going to place them in the short to long term. But it's exciting. We've gone off early, but the actual judging probably won't start for about 30 minutes or so we shouldn't be too far ahead of time. So any questions in the meantime, Bun will be manning the station as before. She will answer any questions and have some wonderful insights. Dave's over there breaking things. Dave, you just let me do it for you, buddy. You're killing me. He's done a great job. Locked in. Excellent. All right. We will. I'm very excited. It should be good. So this is our angle we've got. We've also got this one, which will also show off a bit of stuff happening as well. And when we get to the judging, this will be the stream angle that we look at, and that's exciting. Thank you all. We'll see you soon. Okay, it's working beautifully. Hello everyone. We're here for the live judging. You can see Deno in this camera shot. We've got our judges, Andrew Buckley, Dave Colwell, Nat. How do you say it? Simzak, there you go. And what we've decided to do is showcase every single model on stream. So we'll give some feedback. We'll do our best. If you have any questions, the judges will be available for some feedback tomorrow in case you didn't get enough on stream.
I think it'll be more opinion-based stuff now and then feedback tomorrow.
Very good. And I will switch over to their microphone now, so we'll just do a test run and we'll make sure everything's okay.
Hello, is it working? Yep, looks like it's working.
Cool. Alright, grab these, so we've got a frame. Don't let that hit too many models, thanks. Well done. Because otherwise you'll have my face in the background and we don't want that. Cool. So that's your center point. Right here. Zoom in, let's grab a model and do a test run.
Can we move this?
Nope.
No? Okay.
I can.
No, that's fine. I'll just...
What you probably want to do is go down, like that. And I'll adjust the angle a little bit.
No, the angle's really good.
Yeah, the angle's good, Can you guys see okay? Well, I'll have to move it around.
I'll lean in real close.
You can crowd me more. It's fine. So shall we start with this one?
Yeah. I mean, are we ready? Punch a bit of quietness in the room if they want it. Let them know we're starting.
Do you guys know
we're about to start? Yeah.
I think it's fairly...
Hello, by the way, Kyle. How are you going?
Alright, do you want to open with a little bit of a brief about what we're looking for before we just start ripping the band-aid off on?
Go for it.
Well, you want me to do it?
Yep.
I guess obviously we know why we're here to judge Masters, so the expectation that we have on Masters is going to be a lot higher than what we have in the standard category that you saw yesterday. It's going to continue to sort of build on the Masters category from last year, first time as well. So with that in mind, if you feel that we're going a bit hard, that's just a part and parcel of what this is about. So someone has got to do it.
Tough love.
And we're looking for various things across models. So miniature painting is a very specialised form
Skill
of
set.
Yep. And so we're looking for painting quality, but we're also looking for basing and composition, the way they've used light, the way they've presented the story, the way they've the artist has given us their intent through what their work is.
Yeah, atmosphere and gamesmanship's involved. I think something that's really important is that there is several vectors on the way into what can make a very, very successful piece.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I reckon we should probably get underway because we've got about 120 to get through.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I'm going to open it with a Harry the Hammer.
Yep, so Harold Hammerstorm, isn't it?
Yep.
And we've as we went through the first cut, we sort of did an instinctive idea of
Where we
commended and upwards. So, we're starting on where we think the commended line is, and what are you guys thinking about this one so far? I think there's some nice elements. You can see some good work on the focusing. The shield, especially, I think, is the strongest part of this model, which is maybe a good and a bad thing.
I think clearly a painter here is like got an indication, like a solid indication of where they want us to look at the figure, and they've drawn us straight to it, right? So with this circle here, now this is sort of what I'd expect at a master's level sort of commended entry, right? Is a sort of a fairly decent understanding of the start of focus. Now, focus can be played around with in so many different ways, as we had in different elements around the figure, and then we start the challenge of balancing focus, right? For me, this one here feels like we've just sort of gone to the focal point, and then sort of everything else is faded out.
There's much too much darkness in the areas around the base, so it's not defined enough for what it is. It almost looks unpainted in areas like here. It doesn't look painted, and there's a fair bit of that across the model, which unfortunately holds it from going any higher than commended.
Yeah, how you amalgamate your plinth and your figure, if you're going to do like a
straight onto plinth.
Onto plinth, it has to be very consistent. What do you think, Matt?
No, I agree. It's so especially when you're working into the plinth, making sure that you work it in so that there's either a clear delineation between the plinth and the model or the subject, or you blend it in completely. You kind of have to commit either way.
Yeah,
and it looks a little different on the camera for everyone who's seeing it, but for us, to the eye, what we're seeing here is quite dirty here, and it almost doesn't look like there's a delineated line. If you get the light at the right angle, like right there, it looks delineated, but we can't see that with our eyes.
Yeah.
It's only showing that on camera.
I think with the focus as well, one of the things that you could look at, I suppose, doing rather than how it's just sort of colour and then straight fall off, is having almost a vignette style fade out of your colour and your saturation. So
temperature.
So it pulls everything inwards.
Yep.
But one thing I do like is the way that they've actually put forward the sense of motion in the actual the basing itself.
The composition. That is good, but it's also not quite realised as well as it can be, because it's falling backwards and
it comes with the figure.
Okay, it comes with it.
I believe some of it does. Yeah.
So
at least these elements down here, like the Harry the Hammer sculpt.
I'm not
does
sure
push
where the
into-
front of this is. Like, is it front on Harold Hammerstorm?
Harold Hammerstorm.
I think is this the front? Is this the front?
Well, I mean,
So
I
if
suppose-
you can flip it
front.
over as well, if you can just reverse the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, this is really interesting that like we've kind of decided we're going to do a little bit of painting here and a little bit of painting here, but we're not going to do any painting here.
Yeah.
It's inconsistent in its application of light on the backside. So this is something that we can have a discussion with the painter if they're willing to.
I really do like
This is a limited
the
model.
textures in the reds here.
Yeah,
and,
the shield is gorgeous.
And some of the non-metallic gold is nice.
I want to say it was released at about 2009.
The other thing is the striation on the horns as well is really
Could be wrong
lovely.
about that.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess the other thing as well, like, you know, when we're looking at non-metal metallics, this is probably sort of in that early understanding of like you're executing
Yeah.
it, but it's still in its early form.
Yeah,
So
it's
you've
not
got
quite
sort of
as
singular
far as it needs to be.
bounces. There's no sort of speculars or secondaries.
And some of the edge highlighting is a bit rough as well. All right. So are you guys shuffling for us? That goes into commended then.
All right. We should probably also explain about the bubbles that we have
Yes.
as well. We haven't explained that to you, but something that we've learned over time, judging on stream, is that depending on where your miniature can be judged, can sometimes either be overly beneficial or overly detrimental. So if you hear us say we're going to place this into a bubble, the bubble will either be a gold to silver bubble or a silver to bronze
Which means
bubble.
it's in between those two, and we'll come back and visit it
We'll
later.
revisit later. Hopefully we'll be able to revisit most on stream. If we can't, some of it will be off stream. So.
Like, this is going to be a really interesting one, I think, because this is painted off the example from the class, I believe.
Yeah, this is from
there's quite a lot of,
yeah.
Australia's
Will's
close friend, Will.
He's our token Australian.
Yeah, he is. Adopted.
Adopted
If
family.
you came along to last year's Crimson Brush, you'll know Will as he was one of the 3 judges assigned to Masters, and he did this in a class.
I think the difficult thing with one of these is that they're all going to be judged against each other as well.
Yeah.
And the difficulty with entering an academic into a competition like this is that it's an academic model.
Well, it's also a
So-
tutorial academic
Yeah.
as well,
Yeah.
so it's different again.
And this is painted exactly how Will painted his in the same
Which
colours and everything.
we'll say will not harm you if it
course.
reaches
Yeah.
and exceeds like a very good level. Like it's totally fine to
Yeah.
have that.
But I
It's
think
painting as well. So.
what it does mean is that you have to figure something out to push that creativity vector,
Yeah,
I guess.
find an element. Yeah.
My initial reaction to this one is that it will be cut.
Yeah.
Do you guys agree with
I
that?
just want to have a look at it. I mean, if we set the baseline already on commended is the things that I'm looking at that like sorry, you're gonna have to get it in there. The things that I'm looking at. Sorry, Dave, we're getting close.
No worries, just grab it, it's fine.
Hope you're all deodorant.
These sorts of things are very glaring on this figure. Like so this is all focused to the face, right?
Yeah, the
So
paint is a bit clumpy.
yeah, but also it's the framing, right? All this stuff in here. It's
Yeah.
you know, probably the best word is like it's cruddy. You know, like it's
Clumpy.
clunky. Yeah. Well, it's
It's inconsistent.
yeah, it's inconsistent.
What do I call it? I call it chunky.
The black lining is
Well, the separation of elements, which is a term we're going to use
Yeah,
regularly.
yep.
separation of elements, black lining.
We had a wonderful chat in
It's
the
very important on
Yesterday's,
miniatures.
it was separation was a huge topic in yesterday's.
Yeah, and the other thing I noticed is so the hair itself as well. So the actual like the linear nature of the hair is sort of disrupted by some of the blending as well,
the shadows placements.
and on top as well where it sort of meets the braid. It's still a bit chunky.
What do you guys feel about? I think the gems are fairly fine.
Turn it
I'd probably like to see the crown, like this needs to probably be
Yeah,
getting
amped up.
brighter and
Yeah.
amped up.
And contrast in the
Yeah.
non-metallic metals needs to be increased quite a lot.
especially compared to such white hair as well.
For me, the most outstanding part that would be a cut would be that I just personally have a very high expectation on the facial region and how not only how volumes and nuances conveyed, but also how it's executed.
Yeah. Well, it's the focal point of the model.
I just don't think it's meeting that expectation.
Yeah.
Doesn't deserve this much.
We've got a
I
lot of
think the other
models.
thing is that, so when we talk about the stuff early on, we're also doing a bit of explaining as to what we're thinking.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
We might end up going faster as we move along, but
Yeah.
we're establishing things for the viewers now.
Yeah.
And can you guys see this far enough? Or
Yeah.
I'll try and turn it so that you can see.
Yeah, appreciate it. I think the colours are lovely. The palette itself is really sort of delightfully autumn, but it is very rough.
This one goes straight into the cut for me.
It's the
It's just
chalkiness.
not solid enough.
Yeah.
There's a lack of contrast. There's some nice contrast within these colours here, and the face it's got some nice colour zones within the cheeks and the nose.
it's a bus that's been done a lot as well in
Yeah.
the last 12 months. So
Yeah.
it's
Especially
probably
in Australia.
in Australia, and it's a bus that people get quite aggressively creative with
Yeah.
as well. So it's it's
Aggressively creative.
yeah. Have a
I
well.
love that term.
We are absolutely gonna see some in the field today.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you said there was 7 here
I
today?
believe there's 7.
Yeah.
We'll go something big next.
I personally probably have this one falling into the sort of the bracket or like potentially commended.
Yeah, so this is probably on the bubble of commended and cut.
Yeah.
What makes me want to commend it is just its concept is nice. Like I find it appealing to look at, like to
Yeah.
just gaze on. But when I start to break it down, it starts to fall away
So
from me.
there is some clumpy application of paint in these areas and in the skin here and
Yeah.
here. The hair is missing like this volume here should not be dark, and here and here. And it feels a bit strange, especially when you've got quite a bright bit of skin here, which is picking up the light. I do really like the way that they've done the focus on the
Facial structure.
yeah. So having the
There's 3 striking lines, right? Like,
Yeah.
and this background with the
Oozing.
fading and oozing, and then also these spots down here. I do really like this usage, and this is heading in the right direction.
The background is gorgeous. The one thing I wish it did more was have consistent colours between the background and the mask.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily find that to be a problem. Like there are some consistent within the green here, and
Yeah.
but
I tend to agree
I see
with
what you
Nat.
mean.
I tend to
I see
agree
what
with
you
Nat in
mean.
that it may feel like a very much a missed opportunity to harmonise
Yeah,
this.
I think it feels a little bit more separated than it could be. Like it's a little bit of jarring.
Do you know where it's a lot better? Down here. This
Yeah.
is not jarring. This is. I almost think that
Because
if we
they're
had
next to each other.
Yeah, I almost think
Yeah.
if we had although this is a totally fine choice to have a sort of oozing,
Yeah.
teal. If we had have done this more sponged approach up here, it might have just softened everything
Yeah.
around it. It would have.
And another thing that they could have done is that like this gives it a lot of a sort of a greeny atmosphere. When you've got these warm tones in the hair and the skin, if there was some sort of the colder sort of greeny tones within the shadows of the hair and the skin, it might help unify it a bit
Yeah.
more rather than being that clashing different tones.
I mean, the armband is fine. I think the challenge with the skin is that we've got like one side of the skin is one colour, and this one is going. I'm going to start now on this one.
Yep.
If we as the viewer here, the spectator, I can look at this model however I want, right? I can turn it to here, I can turn it to here, and I can look in here. You know, if you want to stop me from seeing this, then you have to figure a way to stop me from seeing this. Or you have to paint this as good as this.
Yep.
So this is our first example of the back is just not measuring up.
This is There's still some undercoat showing through on the paint that's here.
I know this is something that I've been pulled up on quite a lot in the past as well.
And the blending on the edges of the whiter tones on the skin tones is quite chalky.
Yes.
It's become really quite chalky on certain angles.
That's a cut one.
cut.
Okay, want something bigger.
Alrighty.
It's always interesting to see them under the lights versus.
Yeah, when you're just standing out, or on the shelf, the light always
So
gives you the proper idea of it.
will declare I had a bit of feedback in the base side of this, so just start there.
Yeah.
I do like this oozing
Yeah.
slime here.
And the narrative of the base.
I mean, what do you guys pick up on the narrative of this base? I mean, I know the narrative of the base, so it's a little different. So.
Paradise Lost.
Yeah, to some degree. I think there's some elements of like Escape from New York, with the way that the caps are done.
Yeah.
It's
So almost like the reclamation of hope kind of.
yeah.
Because there's the little flower.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the only
Yeah.
thing that's left in the world.
It's living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think as a narrative, that's really, really lovely. They've done a good job of pulling the eye towards it by having that as
Yeah.
almost the only yellowy element in it.
And compositionally, it's strong
Yeah.
with this swoop up and around.
Yeah.
with the leg and into the face. The painting is the
challenge.
weaker.
That's the execution, and I don't know that the base is strong enough to
Carry the rest of it.
carry the
Yeah.
rest of the model in that regard. And
The face is
Yeah.
always the most important part. And
I personally think this is probably in just commended or border cut.
yeah, I think we want to try and reward people doing and thinking about these kind of bases. So it's tricky when we get into these areas where the painting is lacking, but
Yeah.
the base composition work is higher and lifting it.
Of course, I mean, you and I have debated.
Masters commended. I'm not sure whether it's quite there, but we'll see. I think this one genuinely, but yeah, it's on the border of commended and cut. So
shall
it's
we-
in that bubble. This
shall
is
we-
well, the
yeah.
first one in the bubble.
Yeah, okay.
So yes, bubble commended cut.
Sonia.
Yeah.
So the technical painting level on this one is clearly a jump up from the last one. Compositionally, it's nice as well. I like the way
angles
the
have been
movement
chosen well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if this was leaning any further forward, it'd be off. So it's probably been an interesting balance to get this right for where you want it to look.
So from memory, this is a model and the base in one.
Okay, yeah.
Like they're sort of packaged together.
Yeah, so I
comes
think
together.
are these elements here also a part of it or
I
not?
believe so.
Okay.
Rocks
Yeah.
and the
yeah.
bone.
They're all
It's
one.
all
Okay,
one
okay.
piece. Yeah,
It's
it's a
been a
molded
while
base.
since I've painted her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. No, Zonia, it's a completely molded base.
Yeah.
Older model?
Judgment, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Oh, way back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's a judgment model.
Isn't that you? Yeah.
Yeah, it was Judgment
Zonia.
first wave.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Zonia has
So
a
then
very
the
strong
composition doesn't get as highly marked in that.
Yeah.
But how can we always tell?
Yeah.
But you know,
We don't know every
We
model
only
ever.
know what we know.
That's why we keep other people around us.
I
you know?
didn't know that.
You can just ask me or Bunny. We can tell you everything.
Yeah. Okay. So
I'm an expert.
So,
this could be in the bubble as well.
yeah, I'd probably have this in the bubble. And the things that are happening for me is that, like, this green on orcs, for me personally, I find it to just be very dull. Like, it's just a dull green.
I like the non-metallic. I mean, not the non-metallic. The true metallic metals is the
Yeah.
strongest
So
part in all of the painting.
I
think.
also have a challenge with that in that, like,
If you
now
find an X,
this axe could be older, this breastplate could be younger or whatever, but we've got like a patinaing sort of aging effect on the axe, but
Yeah.
we don't have the same thing happening in these
Or is it a
areas.
magical blue?
Yeah.
Well, either way, it's
if it's patina,
undistinguished.
why is it
Yeah,
at the,
it's-
if it's a patina,
Yeah,
why is it at the top?
Well, because the axe might sit face down and the water would
It-
run.
I think
so,
the
yeah.
key there is it's hard to tell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, that's
It's unclear.
yeah. And there's a lack of consistency.
There is
It's
patina
here,
in
but
this.
it's not here.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, at masters level, just putting the blue in is just sort of, again, it's at that sort of intermediate level. Like, you're looking for more than just the blue. So.
I think the other thing is that as a 360 piece, I think the axe is the thing that grabs my attention the most rather than the actual
Yeah, very much
figure
so.
itself.
And it's the value of shine. So
Yeah.
one thing we'll start
when
talking
we're looking
about.
at it from this angle, we can't even see the axe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, well that's fair, but I guess we're on your side view, so
Yeah.
we're getting
Yeah.
hefty views of it. One thing I want to say with when you're painting true metals, right? It's as much controlling. You're doing your best to control the shine, and one of the greatest pathways to doing that is to control the shadows, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, how
Well,
shiny
that's the
it
only
is
way to do it,
challenging.
really, is it?
Yeah.
There's some other sort of explored ways, but it's the safest way to do it, and that's probably what's clashing with the eye, right? Is that the shine
Yeah.
across the figure? It's the highest value.
Yeah.
So
And you know, either need to dull down the shine or amp up the actual sort of value on the focal point of the model to compete with it.
Yeah.
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 all the furs and things, the leathers, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, totally fine.
Yeah.
The hair, though, for me, again, we're going to get into this separation of elements element. Like back here, you know, they're bleeding into each other. They probably need to be popped out a little further for my liking, personally.
Yeah.
Bubble?
Yeah, bubble, but which we talking bubble bronze commended or just commended?
Just bubble commended cut.
It got quiet in here.
I think everyone's in the other room.
Yeah.
Told you that all
No
go.
one's in here. Cool.
So what do you think now for this one? What do you want? You want to open us on this one?
I want to have a look around it first.
Yeah.
So
I think the atmosphere that's been put forward in this is really, really lovely.
stronger, yep.
I think there's a couple of things that break the atmosphere for me. So things like, so the colour of the metals, the colour of the cloth as well, which is kind of, realistically, not everything is perfectly, in a colour palette. But I think we're trying to present an idealised thing when we're painting, right?
Let's have a look at the field of shadow. Because we're moving from the painters obviously moved to trying to get to a colder tone on this side.
Yeah.
It's still cold at the front. This is this line here that happens when we when shadow happens. It just
Terminator.
can't.
Yeah.
It just can't be jarring. Like
Yeah,
it has to be
it's-
so subtle.
Well, yeah, the shape of when you've got
Yeah.
OSL like this, coloured lighting, you need to get the shape of those shadows just right. And like in here, this straight line, that's completely wrong, and that's really quite
Yeah.
jarring to me.
Because they draw
And here
so much
too,
attention.
right here,
Yeah.
all wrong.
Yeah. So for me, I'm happy to stay
Cut
as
it.
a cut. For
Yeah.
me.
It has some nice elements. I like the way that the transition from these cold colours to the warm within these skin tones. I do really like what they're doing there.
Yeah.
But there's just a few other issues and spacing here between the foot and the ground and it's,
I
I wish
also just
more had
like
been done with it.
just as a future point, can we go to the shadow side?
Yeah.
This, this is reasonable, but like this is we don't get to take this side off because we're putting it in shadow. If
Yeah.
anything, you got to work harder on this side because when we go to that side, we're looking for it to still be painted as good as the front.
Yeah.
it's this strange
Yeah.
jump between
Yeah.
Yeah.
cut.
All right.
Sorry to all the people that we're cutting, but we're being harsh and masters.
The
so we
first
have to
gnome
be
of the
cut.
day.
This is the
First, great model, this one.
Noma,
Very, very
right?
popular as well. Yeah.
Another Noma.
I will say for this model as well, because we will see quite a few of them. She is a really, really lovely big blank canvas.
Yeah.
So you can do.
Yeah, and it looks
A
like this
lot of really
person's
cool
looked to
things
take
with
some
it.
opportunities with that. We've got some freehand patterning across her apron. A little bit
Spots
in
on the mushroom,
mushroom.
and also in her hood, which it matches the apron, which is nice.
I think that this is probably so far like the most distinct step up now. Like
Yeah,
we've
we're
just
in
moved up.
commended
We're
for
in
this one, for
commended
sure.
for
That's
this,
my
yeah.
initial reaction. I like the texture within there.
Yeah.
The fabric, the eyes of the owl are really nicely done, and that's really kind of like
It's such
the
a big
key
focus
part of
for
the
it.
model. So, and you can do so much with this model, changing what's going on by how you represent the eyes. Like there's another one that's coming.
The
that
question I'd like to ask you both is, so what would be keeping this out of bronze then?
The fabric.
The fabric for you?
I think everything combined keeps it out of bronze. But like they've done a really good job. This is probably reasonably high in commended for me.
Yeah.
But overall, for a master's level, everything is quite simple. So
Yeah.
reds, they're all red.
Very flat.
The jade greens here are all jade greens.
And
So
do you,
you
want to
can do
quickly
things.
explain that?
Yeah, so you can go from red to, and then it doesn't have to be
Red.
purple
Yeah.
or any other color like that. You can just go to different tones. So it might not look purple, but if you paint purple or magenta or blues into it, it will change the tonality and give you more contrast. And then you can use temperature across the hood here, so you can have it warmer at the face to help with focus, and then colder up here, which will make it a little bit more pink and maybe more orange here. And you do that across the whole model, and it will help.
Something I think is really important as well for painters, if we can just like these particular sculpts, if we can roll over to the other side, this idea is these are opportunities to embellish and excel.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
is sort of just afterthoughty for me. So,
Yeah,
you know,
it's not very cleanly done and in the shell, and it could be executed to a higher level.
Yeah.
I think this person is really moving in the right direction though. Like I think the face is nice.
Yeah.
There's still a little bit of clumpiness to the skin.
That comes
but
after.
that comes, But they've got nice colour zones in the face, and
This is a classic example of it seems that there is a good working knowledge, and now it's the
Yeah, and now
practice
it's just
on
building
it.
on that. Yeah.
some cleaner lines within the feathers
Yeah.
could help as well. So there's a lot of room to move up with it, but it's a solid piece. So I think that goes straight to middle commended.
Yeah.
One thing before we go as well, one thing that stands out to me is, and this might be my bugbear for the day, so with the fabric and any sort of patterning on fabric. So fabric is made with basically a mechanized process. You've got if you're trying to represent a pattern, it needs to stick geometrically with its own pattern. So this side of it is done incredibly well in terms of having it mapped out. This side is, you've got things distinctly out of place. And you can work with the stretch and the warp of the fabric.
That's what
This is a classic example of you started here, you've got it going, you've got to here. This is where you have to, you've lost steam.
you have to
is
push
a great,
through.
great. You have to push through, and it might require it being redone 2, 3, 4 times until you align those correctly. Otherwise, it's going to break your immersion.
Yeah, that's
and
it.
Then it's done.
You have to just keep on pushing through. And freehand is such a time-consuming thing.
I'm actually so glad we have you on this panel for freehand. You're such an awesome person to talk to about freehand. So.
Okay, we have Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
You got a hat.
Just one gentle leap.
The face is the strongest part
Yeah.
by far,
Yeah, I agree.
but I'm going to cut this one.
Yeah. I mean, the way the hat's done,
Yeah.
it's pretty cuttable. This is all sort of just...
It's
I have a
very-
much higher expectation of masters painters when they're doing this sort of stuff. I do want to say though that if this here,
This level here was across
carried
the
across
whole
the whole
thing,
figure,
yeah.
it would be a completely different figure.
Yeah.
So this is a demonstration of I can do it,
But I haven't.
but I haven't.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, is he the guy that does the machining quicker? He had a stand.
And the further we get along with judging, when we're going to cut
Yeah.
things, we may just do it very quickly because we don't have unlimited time.
Yeah,
there's
and that's
still a
not
lot of
necessarily a
stuff.
reflection on the model, just a reflection on the process of having to judge
And
so
we're
much.
trying to explain why we're doing that, and if that ends up happening to you, then hopefully you can reference all the things we've said about the other things, and that
And this
will
is
help.
why we have feedback available
Tomorrow,
tomorrow and stuff. So.
I'm gonna up the exposure a little bit on this one.
Yeah,
Zoom back.
Just exposure.
Yeah. There we are.
yeah, nice.
Face is a solid part of this model, solidly done. I think it's the most solid part, which it is the most important, which is good.
Yeah, I have it seems to be a
eyes.
sort of reoccurring thing when like real world subject matter movies, you see these sorts of busts a lot where they're like rock stars, movie characters. They just, I don't know whether it's attempting to achieve more realism or not, but they have a habit of falling very flat.
Yes. Yeah.
And for this one, it is quite flat for me personally.
And I think even on minis that are larger than standard, like this one is quite large.
Yeah.
You still have to push the contrast to sort of artificially exaggerate certain areas because it is still, it's not life size. So that's kind of part of what we need to do.
Yeah.
Some brush control issues where you've got like overlapping zones that are not painted
You
cleanly.
can also see it on these areas here and around here. This strap's not too bad, but also I guess with the metal beads or studs, we'll say, I think the under light's probably got to be a bit brighter. So it might be showing pretty well on the camera, but for me, I just
Not too bad, but
It's just
yeah.
for the camera.
I think it's right, but it's also, well, is that like a little bit of a blue underlight on that?
Yeah.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like,
But it's
I want
not
it-
anywhere else on the
yeah.
model.
Yeah, that's
as
it. It's
well.
not consistent with lighting, and that's
Maybe a
another
little
thing,
bit,
I think.
but consistency is important.
Yeah, consistency of lighting and shadows is one of the big things that brings things together. One thing I will say though is, so given that it's on the face paint as well as the lip, so it looks like an intentional choice. Yeah,
I think it is.
The use of basically gloss versus matte as a contrast is a really lovely.
Yeah, I like to use that myself, so it's great to see people using it. And doing it. Like some dirty areas have obviously got like oil, and then these are more matte because it's like dirt. So it's good to see them thinking about that sort of stuff. But my initial reaction to this is at Masters levels, it's a cut. What do you guys think?
I think we've got stuff that's similar in Commended, so I think this can go cut bubble right now.
Yes, obvious.
Your thoughts?
Yeah, my instinct is probably cut, but I'm happy to bubble.
Yep. Okay. Commended cut bubble.
A little more environmental.
And if you guys want to start bringing maybe 5 or 6 more models over to here.
So we had a happy spider just working its way through the
Spider.
What was that?
Oh, there's some,
just
there's some
when
spider
webs
webs on
have
it.
popped up on things. Yeah.
I
they
have
been-
been guilty of dusty models in the
They might have
past,
been knocked
so
out or just moved circulated around. So.
So this one's probably the most solid we've seen so far. You guys agree?
Yeah, it's in that space.
yeah, I think there's some things it does really, really well. But
I
I think
really like the choice to go blue and pink in just this focal zone. That works so well for me.
Yeah, it's like is it a face paint? Is it is it markings or is it just the
He's got blue in his
Yeah,
tails.
yeah.
And here's
He's a very wow troll, right?
Yeah.
Like he reminds me of Raster a lot.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think like
and I like these green rocks.
so if we're talking about bugbears,
yeah.
backdrops.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. It does a job at telling you that he's in a deep, dark, jungly,
I think it's
swampy
the
forest.
rendering that's the challenge. It's
Yeah.
like we're shooting for perspective, yet we've rendered trees that are further back to the same level that we've rendered ones in the foreground.
Yeah.
And it's not losing
Yeah.
light.
Yeah.
These should be darker. These
Yeah.
ones back here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a challenge because it really is that crossover from painting a model to basically painting a canvas.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
And as you get more and more complex in your base elements, so we're starting to introduce resin pours and things.
Yeah.
Like if we can go to the other side, like this is going to count. Like
Yeah,
it
and
has
the
to be
separation of
finished
rocks
fairly.
on the side,
Like
yeah.
if we look at what we looked at for Harry, I
Yeah.
think that is more egregious than the Harry.
Yeah.
The Harold Hammer style.
Yeah.
It's.
So,
I think it comes down to does it break you out of immersion when you're looking at the model?
for me, it does.
Yeah.
So.
Commended.
Yeah, I have this at like probably the sort of upper side of Commended, because I think as a whole, like when we talk about a figure like this, as a whole, it presents quite well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Compositionally, the base is
Yeah.
nice down here. I would personally like this to extend a little bit further
It
down
probably
so I
does
can
need
hold
to,
it a bit
yeah.
better without having to worry about touching.
Well,
things.
also it adds gravitas.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
So
But yeah, I'll put this in a.
There's a
in
nice
high.
look. There is a
This-
nice
this
harmony.
area is nice,
There's a
yeah.
nice harmony between the skin and the woodwork. So I mean, I
I'm
mean,
not sure what this is here, but that's probably just filling a gap between the foot and the rock. There's
Yeah, a
something
sorted
there.
leaf.
I mean, I genuinely think that we as we get deeper, this might be like bubble bronzish, then down to top of Commended. So we can just make that choice now if you want
Yeah,
to.
I'm happy to do it.
Yep.
Commended bronze.
Yeah.
Commended bronze bubble. So, I remember seeing this one on the shelf. Something I want to talk about first up is that I actually really quite like the really bright highlight to the hair with the way the angle that she's actually on for this model and the way that they've painted it. I like this really bright, shiny hair.
Yeah, I think a lot of thought has actually been put into the lighting situation for this one.
Oh,
Shove that in your gob.
I'm not sure what I think about this mounting a bust over. I mean, it's well hidden. You don't see the.
I think it's fine. I think it's fine. I think it's
just why is she floating over the graveyard?
well, she's clearly like a undead sort of maybe zombie warrior, or
a ghost,
a rogue girl, like who's happens to be into gothic stuff.
I like
hanging out at graveyards is a thing these days.
Hey, she brings death. Does a good job of it.
She's got a chrome sword, and I like the thought of the
city,
horizon line.
Yeah.
I think it probably
And
needs to be
there's
executed a little
of
bit
course,
better.
yeah.
And more green.
This is
into it as well.
actually this is just a classic example. If we go to the front as well, about like I had an idea, I want to give it a go.
Yeah.
I'd love to see what this looks like if this person did it 2 or 3 more times.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unfortunately, the face itself is not doing.
So where the last one went up into the sort of bronze commended bubble, I have this closer to a cut for me.
Yep. It has some things that I do like, but yeah, the overall painting, the contrast.
This is nice. The stomach is really actually quite
Yeah,
nice.
I was
Quite
going to say,
soft.
that's my favourite part of it.
Me too.
If that level of sort of contrast and blending of the different sort of atmospheric colours has happened on the face.
A word I love for this stuff, right? Here's one for you. It's just super buttery, right? Like,
Yeah, it's smooth, it's nice.
yeah, and that counts a lot for, particularly for softer skin.
Yeah.
You want that buttery sort of like, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's easy to paint a sort of a rougher sculpted surface of skin, roughly, but it's very, very jarring if you do that on something that's meant to be quite smooth.
These, I do like these yellow elements just popping out here and there. It's a nice bit, but yeah, it's a cut for me.
Yeah, it's just, if we can't have this up here,
Yeah.
which is really funny because I'm almost certain that midriffs tend to be harder to do than...
Yeah,
Yeah,
I painted that area of that model, and that is a really, really subtle anatomy. in
Yeah,
that.
soft, squishy shapes are really, really hard to do well. So,
See, I'm sorry to whoever models this is, but I can't grab it without
yeah.
touching some of the paint.
No, that's it. It's so that's the base it comes with, but I think mounting that onto
That
something
needs
more
to be
solid.
put onto, yeah.
Yeah.
Now the face on this is very strong. The eyes especially are striking. That's the strongest element of.
And the color contrast between them.
Yeah, the contrast from the blue to the autumn leaves
Yeah.
it's aggressive, but it's working. Like
Yeah.
it's around the hedgehog as well. Like it's coming up into the skin tones. Like
Yeah, I think this is like with a lot of looking at color and stuff like that. If you want to go with an incredibly high saturation piece, you need to commit to it, and I think this has done that quite well.
one thing that you can't lose when you are going high saturation is we still want to see a level of detail in these areas that probably exceeds what we've got if we just go around. You can taper away on focus. That's fine.
Yeah.
But you want to show that you're doing that
Somewhere, yeah.
with intent.
The other thing I've also noticed that is with such a focus on color as the main form of contrast for the model, the highlight and the overall color of the face is very different to the shoulders and the bust.
Yeah, so for me, that shows what I think they're doing is they're going for a warm face and then they're dropping to a colder skin tone here. But unfortunately, that transition from the warm to cold is just a little bit too sharp.
Well, I mean, look at your warm space to your cold space. You're like, we've got actual proper warmth here, and then proper cold here, right?
Yeah.
So you
It's a
don't
bit
have
too sharp, and then you've got another zone of warmth
So,
here.
yeah.
So that having just a little bit of yellow within the highlights of just here, and here, while having the shadows be cold, it would balance that just a little bit more. This would be a tricky one to place, but I think it's probably still in bronze commended bubble.
I just think it would have been in the bronze commended bubble if it was mounted. It's not mounted, which probably just drops it to a commended.
The face is very strong though, especially those eyes. But yeah, let's put it in commended at the moment then. Yeah, because it is annoying.
Master's
to
painting
hold.
is not about having just one element. That is going to get you there.
Okay. Commended.
Well, if it is just one element, it's got to be a fairly outstanding element.
Undies are so
So this is a very dynamic model, and That can be very tricky to paint, so we can keep that in mind. I don't know whether this comes with this base or not.
I think some of it might be the base. This generally looks like it's sculpted.
Yeah. Well,
Like a
anything.
It
print.
fits the foot so
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's it.
It's the first model we're doing with tufts, is it? But I love to see them painted.
I just really like the base. I think the base is strong. I think that the axes are fine.
The axes are good. I really like this blade here. This is actually the best part of the entire model.
Yeah. It's a bit chalky, but you know, in that area when
It's
you're
nice
going
to
up
see
into
these
the
different
W,
colour
you can kind of
tones.
disguise it. So.
Like there's some purple in here,
Yeah.
some green blues, and I really like that.
Hair is sort of really lacking for me here.
Yeah,
very one note.
it could be using more stroke building, and
And this is the first time we've got to like murky flesh, and it's murky in some areas, not like this set of muscle here. I like. I think it's good. We've got some blood rushing to the undersides where the muscle's flexing. All of that works well. But then as we get up to here, we're just losing everything.
It's not represented as well, and the volumes are not ideally interpreted through the arm and muscle here. Like there's quite a lot of light here, which means this muscle should still, and here this muscle should be much brighter, and I'm not sure why it's.
This is
losing it.
another example, as we had one earlier, where if we can just keep the focus
of that everywhere.
Yeah.
we're getting like a properly elevated piece of work.
Yeah. And just for the sort of the stream, can you define what you mean by murky flesh?
It's murky. I guess it's like muddy,
Yeah.
right? Like so, it's not
Painted
about
in a muddy
it's
way.
not about
Yeah.
the skin tones at all. It's about how it's been executed, right?
Yeah.
So when some muscles are being very heavily separated, other muscles are being not very heavily separated, and then we're also playing with shadow as well on the backside. So for me, it just kind of, as I was saying, I'd like this. This is the best part of all of the flesh that's been painted. Like not so much going to the back, but towards the front.
Yeah.
And the back there's probably not enough contrast within
Yeah, so
these
it looks like it's not been fully painted.
Yeah, you really want to go into a different temperature or saturation, but it still needs the value contrast in
careful.
there to be.
This sack.
Oh yeah, tilt it up.
Oh yeah, there is a.
Don't want to get banned because there's a straight up bog sack in there.
Oh,
Excellent. Yep.
It is.
Okay, we won't be
it is
looking at the
anatomically
back
correct at the
Yep,
back.
yep.
So
we won't be looking at it from the back anymore.
How's the grundle, Dave?
yeah.
So where do we place this? Commended?
Yeah. This would be in a commended because its overall presentation is
Nice.
that of a commended piece. But
And for such a dynamic piece, I think as you look around it, it's got interesting stuff from every angle.
full nude bodies are quite challenging.
Yeah, they
to
are.
do, so
Like skin in general is a very challenging thing. So.
yeah.
And the focus with the hair is
Look
nicely
at the.
done.
This happens sometimes with highlights on skin as well. If we don't get the tonality right, it starts to look like it's dirty.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
see it.
yeah.
So
How well is
that's
that grundle?
that's
Thank
probably
you.
a better. That's probably a better example of what I mean with sort
Yeah,
of
yeah.
murkiness. Is it's like the highlights just tend to go dark in the
Yeah.
wrong places. So.
Ooh, who's this? Alani.
Alani
Alani.
from our sponsors.
From our sponsors there at Neko Galaxy. She's an older model. She's discontinued now, isn't she?
She might be.
Yeah.
I like the
I like the backside.
yeah the blue light from the back is nice.
Yeah, it's really in the right places. Yeah.
It's
red
better
light
than the
is-
front,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
the red side is like
Not as good.
It's powerful.
That is red.
And like again, when you're going to have these kind of meeting of
Transitions,
colours,
yeah.
the Terminator and the shape of the shadows is more important than the actual lights themselves, and that hasn't been done as well as it could. Like this.
So what's the
this
colour of
feels-
this? So maybe we can
feels
use this
wrong.
as a time to be informative, Dave. When we talk about the Terminator, what can someone do in this space? What's some colours they can use to maybe create that field of shadow and create
That doesn't
shade?
matter. I think the color. It's so much. It's about the volume interpretation and the shape of the shadows. You want to get. You can take actual put real lights in real life on the model before it's been
Yeah.
painted and
Yeah.
take some photos. And the things that you want to take note of within those photos are the shapes of the shadows.
So can I make a suggestion though?
Purple.
Yeah, the reason why no color is even present here is because I'm not sure that the person knows what, like that's what, number one, that there is a terminating field of
Yeah, the
shadow, but
terminal
also
line, yeah.
then what do you use to do so?
Yeah.
And that's probably pretty evident with the fact that it's just a
Blue
straight
and red.
bang blue red.
Which is
So-
in between. So yeah,
Yeah.
You could think of going purple there,
Yeah.
but then you've got this. I don't know why this big bit of. It's probably because the red light is from below.
Yeah.
But the intent of that is not showing clearly to
If
me
we
as
roll
a
to the
reader.
front, here's the attempt at it too. You can see
Yeah.
it looks
Yeah.
like there's been an early attempt at it, and it's gone. Oh, this is pretty hard because it is.
Yeah.
I'm going to abandon that over here, right?
Yeah.
So,
Even if it's come from below, why is it
and it's
set?
Yeah, that's it.
So-
It's, the lighting isn't necessarily consistent.
here's a classic example as well. When we start to do a light, is like now it's just paint plastered over a face. It's
Yeah.
not actually interacting. Like, miniature. So much of miniature painting is how light
This
interacts with surface.
Is
So,
really nicely done.
This is.
the blue,
Yeah.
but this is the back.
yeah.
Yeah.
The least important part of the model. It's good. Like if it was to this level all around, but I want to cut this.
Yeah, I agree that it's a cut.
Yeah.
If you're going to watch this, the person who's painting this, if you watch this stream, honestly, you're just one more look at the back. Like this is, yeah, I really enjoy
Yeah.
it.
Like, come back and chat to us tomorrow because that's like it's got so much potential. But
Let's talk about
Yeah, that's cool.
what time?
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, we're going to show every model the same
Hey,
level
you've
of
had about
respect.
6 months to work on it.
It's our second Warhammer model, is it?
Yeah.
I know.
Belial. So I'm trying to turn the models as I grab them so you guys can see.
We need a paint
Well,
handle.
this mold line gap hasn't been handled very well, unfortunately.
Something that, like, on a whole, right? This is
This
a
is
really
strong.
solid
Gaming
gaming
piece.
piece.
Who is this?
This is Belial. He's
Dark
the
Angel Chap
Dark-
Master.
no.
The
Oh,
Master
is he a
Repentance?
brother of John
Oh, I
Space
don't
Marine?
remember.
He's the first. He's the
First company.
First company captain of the Space
Like,
Marine.
I
He's the
just
master of
phoned-
the Deathwing. So yeah, he's
Sure thing. I know
he's
there's green people.
peak edgy. He's peak edgy.
And there's blue people.
And there's blue people.
Yeah.
He mixed it up.
These
I
little,
believe he
like-
mixed it up with Nazdrag back in the day, and it got
And
whooped. So-
it will be interesting because there's another Belial in the competition later that is to a higher level than this.
So, one thing I find interesting of this, and I had a look at this in our initial wave, right, is that there's actually a very nice transition from our armor. We're sort of tanned nicely, and then we work down to this bone. This is a hallmark of a Deathwing Terminator. It is the center point to good Deathwing. It's how well this is done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some areas are done really well, but if we can rotate to the inside, then we get here. Have a look at this highlight here.
Yeah.
It's so choppy. Yeah. And Space Marines can either sort of be all done in that manner,
Yeah.
right? Or they have to be all done on this side, but we can't have both.
Yeah, you need
And
consistency.
there's quite the white frame around the power fields on the blade is quite blotchy.
Yeah, and so is the majority of the
Areas that
blades.
I like the base detail. I like the weapon. This is quite reminiscent of old school. Like it's almost
Yeah.
comic
Yeah,
book
yeah,
style.
Yeah, and like you can look at the
Storm
specular
bolters.
points on the actual weapon itself.
And the non-metallic metal.
Yeah.
There's some nice edge highlighting.
I feel really good about this just being flat commended.
yeah, strong commended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things that could have elevated it, of course, as always. Even with gaming pieces, just buy one. If you don't want to put them on plinths, we understand.
Just
blue tack it to a pin.
plinth. We're
Yeah.
not going to
Take it
punish
off.
you for being blue tack to a pin.
Yeah, blue tack,
Trick of the
double-sided
trade.
tape
Yeah.
works really well.
Yeah.
Someone had magnets before.
Yeah. Just get them up, get them higher.
Even if it's
Solid work though. It's nice. I like looking at it.
yeah.
Good old wow.
You can literally take a stroll through Kmart or something and
Yeah.
find a bunch of random like wooden candle bases and stuff. Work amazingly well for just gaming mini plinths and stuff
But
like
also,
that.
if you live in Australia, we have a great plinth seller.
Hey, this is not a place for
Self-advertising.
self-advertising.
No, I legitimately went on like a roll through Kmart earlier, just being like, and this and this and this and
All
this.
right. So,
Ava. big child.
I'm happy to open on this one unless anyone
Yep,
else wants
please do.
to. So this is one of the classic examples of painting where it grabs you. It hit me at the 10 feet,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then we got to the 2 feet, and then we got to the up close,
Yeah.
and it lost me further and further
Yeah,
as we get in.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because the color choice is really, really interesting, and I want it to be better than it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, whoever
The
painted
yellow
this,
is cool. I really like
Yeah,
the way
whoever
they've done the yellow.
painted this-
The yellow is well executed.
Yeah.
you've chosen great colours. Like I genuinely think you've chosen great colours. This is an execution, an executionally challenged piece.
Yeah. And I think
I'm not sure how and why they've chosen
Blue light, yeah.
No, the blue light coming from these little dots here is fine, but the way it's been executed, I'm not sure about these shapes. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. I understand it here and here, but what's going on with these triangle and the flat line here, I
Yeah.
don't understand.
yeah, well, it's like anatomically, if they're stretching up that way, they're stretching that entire area, so everything's going to be fairly smooth.
Yeah, it's always the
And
classic
it needs
case,
to
isn't
fade
it?
away more slowly.
This is something that I suffered from early on, the Mandy syndrome. It's like we are overemphasizing muscle in the wrong places.
Yeah, because if you're going to overemphasize
This
muscle,
line here,
go for it. But
it's too defined.
yeah, a book on anatomy does wonders.
Yeah, or for just looking at photos
Yeah.
of bodies is a great one.
Find someone in the same sort of position,
Yep.
and just work
Commended.
I would put this in the bubble of commended
I've got it.
personally.
What do you think?
I think just for how bold it is, I would probably push this into commended.
Commended.
It's not like I can
change
change the
still.
binary. So,
As we get further along.
Nosferatu.
Nosferatu, or AKA Marilyn Manson.
Yep.
Can you pass my giant water bottle?
Shit. Shut up.
Do you want to open us on this one now?
Sorry, I'm just happy.
Yeah, get in
So in terms of things that I really, really like about it, is that padding sculpted into the piece, or is it?
This?
Yeah.
there. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's a part of the piece, I believe.
I
We
think.
can always check it if we
Yeah, I think. Oh, I mean, it doesn't really matter that much, but I think that's worked with really well. The treatment of the metals itself in sort of the patina and how that's done is really lovely. But I think everything else is just far too subtle.
Yeah. Yep.
And the other thing is with very, very pale skin tones, it's very easy just to make it look incredibly washed out, and you can't lose the definition of the actual model itself when you do that. As pale as you want to go, there still needs to be some kind of contrast so you can still read the model when you're holding it out at arm's length.
I like to see these different colours in the leather, but it's probably not defined enough in certain zones to make it look a little bit more than just the starting stages. So like there needs to be some sort of highlight within the.
Well, it's the challenge
the
with focus,
shapes.
isn't it? When you shoot for focus and you gain focus, right? It doesn't mean we can't we just get to lay off all the rest of the model,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
everything else still needs to be done. And I think why this happens is because it's quite a stimulating part of the process. When you get an area right, you're like, oh yeah, this is
Yeah.
great, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then it's like, oh, now the hard work starts. Now I've got to get around other areas. So
Yeah.
This feels very
yeah.
unpainted.
Yeah, and there's a
This is
very
okay.
yeah, no, I actually quite like the leather of the bat knife. I think.
Yeah.
It feels like stamina has been the challenge on this.
Yeah, the hair itself, I think, needs a far brighter highlight, given how bright the face is coming up. It doesn't have to be big, but just a
Just a
tiny
little
bit.
bit
It's probably in the
Yeah.
crown,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's probably. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
It's probably in these areas.
Just
yeah.
a tiny bit, just to help build that volume as well. And
Ears, ears. They're on the head.
Yeah.
They're on the focal point. These need to be solid,
Yeah.
on the other side too.
And going from here to here, this is
Yeah.
going too dark. Even if the light is coming from here, this shadow has gone just a little bit too dark for how much light is creeping this way on
Yeah.
the rest of the model.
Where do you have this now?
I would probably push it towards cut personally.
I'm in agreement, Dave.
Yeah, I like this metal, but yeah, cut.
Yeah.
See you later, nose
Oh, this one's an interesting one
He's right.
This one.
because it has some really magnificent work in it.
Yeah.
This is one of our.
Sponsors.
Yes, it is absolutely. This is like a high, low style piece where there's just like we can immediately just address what the biggest high is. The biggest high on this piece is on the back, and it's this.
It's not just in the back, but like all of the
Yeah.
fabric has this this text and rune work in it, which is absolutely
And it's
awesome.
the way the light is like it's all like interacting correctly with the light. They're in shadow where they need to be.
Yeah, they look like they've been treated as if they're actual sort of either raised stitching or embossing
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah. So it's like this level of attention to detail, and then this
Absolutely.
giant box here, is just they're not even at the same.
And
I feel like different
the
pieces.
face as well
Yeah.
is much too subdued. Like the skin color tone is almost the same as the cloth. It's just not differentiated enough.
This is a classic one as well with painting female faces in shadow, like where we do like a
harsh-
focal
harsh
like a
of a line.
zenithial light. Like you can have your harsh
It's
line,
just a straight line.
but then we need to add
Yeah.
value to the shadow side.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
under,
that's it.
under here, yeah.
Yeah.
But this sharp line is it's still
probably-
too
it's
sharp
probably too
for how
egregious.
round her face is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's having a look at, once again, like taking pictures under a light, even after it's just been primed black, I find is actually really good.
Yeah.
Just to see where the shadow actually lies, so you can work with the sculpt rather than against it.
Yeah. Now, how do we place this as a
Can we get an audio check from the stream as well? Can you just get people in the stream to let us know how they're going with our voices, just as the room gets
I
louder?
checked in before, it's fine. I check in periodically.
because
Occasionally.
my initial
I'm just more concerned about background.
instinct is to put this on the bubble of cut and commended, and we'll decide once we've put everything else there, because it's got some really good stuff.
Shall we refer back to a stance we took earlier in judging with the Dryad? She had a great face, but there was elements that were just not holding it, and something we kind of all agreed on is if there's
It's
if you're gonna
about
have
the
one
whole thing,
element,
isn't it?
Yeah.
if you're going to have one element that's really good to carry you, it probably needs to not be the thing that's most visible around the back of the figure. So
Yeah, that's it. It's
So we cut it, because I do want to commend the work in there.
I would like to put this in the commended cut bubble, and we
Yeah.
will have a look at that bubble as a whole, and then we'll come back to this
Yeah.
one.
Commended cut bubble. Broken.
There's a break in there's a breach in
Yeah.
the table line.
there is.
All right. Can someone find some blue tack, please? Blue tack.
Just a,
If it's a clean.
yeah, it is. It's a square.
It's at a join, so it's not a bad one. Apologies. You got beef? What's going on?
There should be blue tack around. We can at least it's just behind you still. I can do it. I'm happy to do it.
It's
Yeah,
legit.
Joe. You know what? Take it away, Joe. Joe, take it away. Repair it. Bring it back at the very end.
Whose is it?
That's on us, mate.
Oh, okay.
Apologies, Joe.
Do you need blue tack? Alright, stream, how's that? Can we hear this mic check? Checking. Hey, we're good to go.
Alrighty. So we're just waiting on that.
Yeah, she's here. She's coming.
We're good?
Yeah.
Hello, stream's got us.
It just muted itself. So
Yeah, it's all good.
We love that.
Thank
I
you
know.
to tech support for bringing us back. Thanks,
You're welcome.
Strong the Barbarian and Ben X Lane. All right, I mean in the areas that are nice to really look at, down in here.
Yep, this is very nice.
This
think
the
that-
shadow is wild.
Yeah, I think some of the painting up here, I like the texture differentiation in the coat and the different parts on it.
Yeah.
This shadow though on the face is maybe a little bit too much for my taste. Like cutting the face in half like that, and it's quite a sharp line. The light hitting here, it will be sharp up the top here, but
Fade out.
it's still sharp all the way down, but it will actually fade out because this object is close here, but it's not close down
It's
here.
the classic, like when you're learning something new, right? We talk about this a lot. You're trying to break the technique in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this is like the choice of word wild was very specific before, because this is like a wild attempt at that shadow.
Yeah.
You know, again, another example of
Yeah,
two or three more attempts,
Yeah.
and we start to soften it. Yeah.
I really like the use of warm to cold,
Yeah.
and the transition of this gold on the hat. Like that's great, but it's not maintained through the rest
Yeah.
of the model. Like there is a little bit of coldness into the hair on the sides here, but it's really hard to see.
Some early, some like
Freehand.
it's an
and
amateur
weathering.
freehand. You know, I'll go off the rip and just say I think this is commended.
Yep. I don't know what this stuff here. It feels unpainted.
Yeah.
It has some issues.
I mean, we
It has
can
some good
we can,
parts,
you know, like if you guys want to debate cut, then we can debate it.
but it's got some good. I think we should commend cut bubble.
Green cut bubble. Okay.
Yeah.
Commend cut bubble.
Old
Red and
school
green,
and
very,
old
very
school hair
difficult.
bust. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very difficult.
Combination.
Yeah, and
Fluoro
yeah.
green, fluoro orange.
It's a complementary color, but it's a difficult one to make work.
The problem is,
I think in the attempt to making it work, almost all value has been lost. Or at least contrast value through this side is just like pretty flat orange, but at the highest, and then it's
Yeah.
on the green side as well.
and I mean that is kind of what happens under such a strong light.
Yeah.
But once again, we're painting to an idealized scenario.
Yeah. My initial reaction is to cut this.
I mean, cut camp.
My biggest thing in terms of jarring aspects, ear, and if the orange on the side of the head is a light, what's going on with the hair?
Yeah, why is it so different tone?
Yeah, it feels very
Too cold.
Inconsistent?
Inconsistent. And like these horns and hair, they're like these big white spots in the middle of nowhere, and it doesn't fit the ambience.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
cut. Let's go.
They see the different stuff.
I like the texture in the clothing.
It's in the hair.
Yep.
yeah.
This, love this, love this.
Yeah, coming from this.
Yeah.
So that's there. So we need to remember that this is meant to be an object source
Yeah,
light.
it's fire. It's
Yeah.
actual fire. Yeah.
So I actually really do like the
Yeah.
orange on the shoulders here. That's working really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do we think about all of this texture now and around the
So this seam line in here,
should be lit.
how it's picking up light as we
Yeah.
hold it here, that should be painted.
Yep.
That's a highlight that's
Yeah,
missed.
it's not a highlight.
Yeah.
I'll show it.
Is this how this model comes? Like, is this a custom hand? I don't remember it coming with it.
It doesn't carry that. No, it
Carries a
goblet.
chalice.
A
doesn't it?
bowl.
Goblet.
Yeah.
But so the hand isn't holding a plate like
So
this.
it
Is this
usually
a
has like
custom
a-
She's
sculpt?
got like a bowl
Yeah.
type of thing.
Other fingers like this though? Yeah, it's custom, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
sculpted.
Okay.
That's
It's been
impressive.
added.
Yeah.
It's important we know that, because obviously that's an element where
The eyes have been glossed.
creative is chosen.
Yeah. The eyes on that are really lovely.
Unfortunately, some of the work of the paint in the skin here is a bit clumpy.
Yeah, I mean, what's your initial feeling? Yeah,
Commended,
commended.
but high commended,
Yeah.
close to bronze. This
Yeah.
could go in the commended bronze bubble.
Yeah.
Because some of this OSL work is
Something. I mean,
excellent.
this is something that we're going to see a lot around this area of where we're putting things.
Yeah.
Is that they're going to have something that really stands out as excellent,
Yeah.
and some things that are going to.
Yeah,
sort
and
of
a few things that
something
are down.
like this might be just a personal tasting, but the choice for the blue gems and the plate, I think that is a really detracting for the Mahols piece. If they chose maybe a magenta or a purple, it would fit the warmer vibe without clashing
I think
so
they could
much
even
with
use
things.
like a very old porcelain would have worked as well.
Yeah, so even keeping these gems blue may be fine. It's this blue
it's
plate.
the type of it's the
Yeah,
it's
the
it's
plate is-
cyan, yeah, like it's too much.
It's clashing, and so
Yeah.
it takes all the attention, and it's like you don't want it
Yeah.
to. And
Just really want to point out, moving back over
Yeah.
this is actually really nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
This
the
is, this
hair is
this reflections
Yeah.
and the light coming from this is beautiful,
The light on one of the temples.
and,
Yeah.
and it's
And the
it's
understanding
subtly
of like
done.
how it falls
The
off as well.
jawline.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and the fall off is good.
Yeah.
So, commended bronze bubble, or we're going straight to bronze, or just.
I think we're
commended?
going to have to start making some flat decisions as
I'm
well.
happy to go for bronze with this one.
Commended bronze bubble, I think.
I'd probably fall into the commended bronze bubble as well.
It could. It probably will end up in bronze, but we haven't done any
Yeah.
bronzes yet, so because it's an early one, we put it in the bubble. It would probably go up though.
Yeah.
Commended bronze bubble.
It's Seattle.
He's a very smooth man.
Well moisturised. Found it.
Smooth,
Flat as well. Is it?
smoothly painted. You mean,
An overall flatness.
or smooth personality?
Slick.
He's also very bald. So
I find this plinth choice odd for this character.
Yeah.
It's this is really nature kind of feeling, and this is very cyberpunk. It doesn't fit to me,
Yeah.
but you know, that's not the painting. But
Can we
It's
roll
a- it's
over
a-
to the?
it looks like an airbrushed light
yeah.
I mean, it's
because there is no Terminator. There's no
there is
dark
no, but
zone.
it is, but because it's airbrushed, it's softer, which means that it does work. It does. It's not harming it
Yeah.
as much as what we've seen so
Yeah.
far with OSL. But it's still probably it's just
Quite flat.
it's another way of doing it that still hasn't quite reached the
I do like this
lens.
the light in the lens is nice. And
I like
the
actually-
stripes in the tie
I think the overall
and
the skin is nice.
Skin is,
Yeah, the face
skin
is
tone.
nice. It's a nice face. This though for me, we're talking about masters,
Yeah,
right?
it's amateurish.
Yeah.
I do really like this little
Yeah,
tiny
it's
bit
good.
of orange
Yeah,
in the
yeah, it's
light.
good. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
But at masters with free hand,
Yeah.
So we cut this.
I think so.
What do
I mean,
reckon,
you
Ed?
know what? Is this strong enough to keep it in commended?
Cut commended bubble then, or do we go straight to commended? No.
I think that we've put stuff in commended, in the cut commended bubble that is objectively worse than this.
Okay.
Okay.
There are definitely things that pull it back, like as I was saying, like the tattoos.
Well, they don't look like tattoos.
Yeah, they look like paint. One of the big things with tattoos is working them actively into the skin because they sit under
Under
the
the
skin. So you basically need to highlight and shade them and also tint them in.
Colours change. You know,
Yeah.
black is usually looking blue or green.
Yeah,
You know?
or like the last time
I like this texture.
I worked it out, I think I ended up using something like an olive green mixed with a bit of purple for
If
tattoos.
I'm going to be the most vocal on a cut, then I need
Yep.
to make sure that I'm. So I in this frame here, like.
You're not on the
wanna-
screen.
Oh, sorry,
You
friends.
gotta frame
It's
it.
very hard.
In
for me
this
to-
frame, they're just staring
Yeah.
at a black.
So, from here up, to me is definitely like sort of in that bronze space, but then
Yeah.
it just tapers off to me
Yeah,
to
that's fair.
just be like, you know, like we've seen things
Consistency isn't there for across the whole
Yeah.
thing.
we've seen things sort of in the standard space that's sort of on par with this. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that's
bearing in
fair.
mind what we're here to judge.
Yeah, you make a good point.
That's my case.
So cut commended bubble.
Yeah, and I think this could that could impact stuff that's in the cut community
Yeah.
bubble
Yeah.
going toward
Yeah,
the cut as well.
I think it always kind of will.
Arthur. It's very interesting colour choices. For an armour.
Yeah, I was just thinking that purple, solid, royal colour.
This is an interesting one because from far this one wants to draw you in, but as you get closer and closer, it's losing its impact. Where do you guys feel this one should be falling? Oh, look at that dust coming out.
I actually think this is the bronze. This is probably the bronze commended bubble. I just want to be able to have a look at it if that's okay. Okay, yeah. The thing with Arthur with this bust is that the face, until you get right in, is always quite hidden.
Yeah, well, it's all in shadow
Yeah.
just by.
And it's
nature
really
of the sculpture.
patchy.
Yeah. Do we need to zoom it a little bit?
No,
Is it okay?
it's fine.
It's okay. You can get
It's
closer.
fine, but
I think the other
I
thing
don't-
is with
Probably a tiny bit.
with this, the nature of the highlights is that they all go upwards into a very desaturated chalkiness, and it's a really difficult thing to tackle. But
I think that.
yeah, having such strong colours together, but they all go up into that just almost pastel area.
Yeah, I'm probably going to fall off on after holding it and having a close
Yeah.
look. There is some stuff I really like. I genuinely actually like from here
crown.
up again. I like the crown, and I
Yeah.
like how it's interacting with this. This really does look like a cool blue chainmail. Like I really quite enjoy that.
Yeah.
It's well sculpted.
Yeah, and I do enjoy the colour choices.
Yeah.
Its execution
Yeah,
and its
execution.
nuance is lacking, but. The purple armour I'm finding is a really interesting choice for this model.
This feels like a piece that was done and a lot was learnt from it, but it's not bad.
Cut.
I would be happy to cut it.
Okay.
Cut commended bubble, I think, just to come back to it. Yeah, I have some thoughts about this one. So you've got the red and green,
Light in the background.
the red and green.
Do you know the first thing that I sort of am seeing here that I find this is very unusual is that we are going up
Yeah.
in
From the
base
back.
design. Yeah, we're starting here and we're going down. We're
Just so everyone
taking-
knows, we're cutting this one. Sorry, Pixie, unlucky.
You're not allowed.
Get him out of here. He can't help it.
Ben, you're supposed to be on board.
Yeah, get on Deno Watch. Get him out of here.
We've got tape for a reason.
This is a very peculiar choice.
And another peculiar choice is the light on the helmet is behind the sword. So I find that like this model, the golden angle,
Yeah.
for me is here.
Yeah.
And so usually you want to paint your highlight and volume for the golden angle, but we've got shadows right in the golden angle, and we've got light coming from behind the sword. So from this angle here, when I look at it at this angle, it looks really quite good, but I can't see it. I can't see it past
You
the
have a
sword.
lot of experience of painting Space Marine armor.
Yeah.
What does your experience in painting Space Marine armor say about this?
It's probably a high tabletop level.
Yeah. However, it's obviously
It's not
the thing.
on the
The things have been
tabletop.
put in the right place.
Yeah,
to
I actually
mount it.
quite like the background and the green and the sort of simple nature to like the aurora
Well, and
borealis.
we've got like
and
the outline of a
explosion.
marine in the background or a dreadnought potentially here, as well as some banners. And
Here.
things. Yeah, I think this is actually look. There's a
It's
shoulder
just not
pad, shoulder
mountain.
pad.
Oh yeah, that's actually it's a
Terminator?
marine. It's
Yeah.
a backpack.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, there's some cool elements, some strange choices. I think this goes in commended for me.
I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah. I think the background is really lovely.
Just some
But-
peculiar choices on this
Yeah.
one. Like this is about getting your. I mean, this marine is already on a challenging. Like
Angle.
it's turning its whole.
Yeah.
they're turning the whole body, right?
This should be much cleaner. The
Yeah.
delineation here between the light, the flat of the blade and the sharpness of the blade. This needs to be better.
Model choice as well. Like if this is the model you want, you might have to get funky with it, and you might have to like just take this body, you know, like you might have to cut,
Rotate it.
you might have to make a cut that goes through, and then rotate the top just to get it open on the right angle.
But it is open on the right angle if you paint it the golden angle or the highlights.
Sure,
Yeah.
but that's not the angle that this painter has chosen for
Yeah.
himself. So in that case, if that's what you want, then make that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Commended.
Zoom.
This
The camera zooms.
I find it easier to
Okay.
hold it. No,
no,
don't
I'm
mess
just,
with
I'm just adjusting the
contract there.
it's
Exposure.
overexposed for this particular piece.
Let's just have a look at it first, and then I'll hold it for the camera. So, I'll just, as I'm turning it around, I'll point out again this line here between the light and
This might be the
colour.
most egregious case of it.
Yeah, this is. I don't know what this is.
They're two different pieces. You could
Yeah.
cut them in half.
It's supposed to be a rim light, but rim lights don't just start and end out of nowhere. It feels strange.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is when you've got a meeting of two different sort of disparate lights, you end up with a dark band between them. not a bright edge.
You terminated light.
Yeah.
You shadow. So. What I do like, I actually really like tonality here.
Yeah,
and I like it here too. And I
the
like
eyes
the expression
and the face. Yeah. So this has some strong elements when we're looking at it just straight on.
Yeah.
It's strong. This is definitely commended. Just for the
Yeah, I think
face.
it can probably stay there.
The painting technique is good. It's a little blotchy, and there's some areas that could be blended. Like here, it could be nice to blend that.
Yeah.
And there's some edges and volumes that are a little bit too sharp within these wrinkles, but
The hairline's an interesting choice as well. It's not being lost.
generally it's
not too much of a problem.
It's on the way. I like the use of the blood, the splashes down here, the running from the mouth, the red eyes.
this is like-
The eyes are really nicely done.
But if we're going to draw back to the attempt at the rim light, then it's probably
It unfortunately just pulls so much away from the model, I think.
Yeah.
and again, like we have the opportunity to just turn this model.
Commended.
So, I'm a cowboy.
That could just be the model. I don't know.
The model is quite
The
dark.
model, yeah.
It's a dark.
Now this is a tricky one. When you've got a hat like this, you've got to think about how you're going to present it to the viewer, because natural light will, darken the
Find
face.
its way in, and
Yeah.
So you've got to think about whether you're going to paint that shadow in, or paint the face bright without consideration. To
Is this
that
just an
natural light.
unpainted Cheris badge?
No, it's got some metallic paint on there.
Does
Just
it? Does it?
Yeah. But like, the edge is not
Okay.
defined clearly.
I mean, it's
enough.
been shaded in a way that makes it look exactly the same as the coat
Yeah.
for me. So. I believe I've judged this before. I think I judged this at Guilty.
It's a cut for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Nat?
Yeah. Yeah. It's different.
Alright. We're going to really talk about how armor receives weathering and damage, and so that's
Yeah.
the focal point of the piece.
It is.
And it's
To me, it
just
feels like
too
it's
random.
Yeah, it's been done like it's taking miniature painting principles for battle damage and applying them to the larger scale, but it does change a little bit when we get to the bigger. We
Like
kind of
this
need to be,
kind of damage,
yeah. Well,
nothing can reach there because
yeah.
of this
You-
handle.
You need to think about what hit this and how and why.
Yeah.
This is
What's the story?
This damage here is fine, because that's the kind
See,
of
I-
thing that would rub against things.
I'm off on this just for the execution. It's too like
Linear?
well, when damage happens, especially in these areas, it's deep, right? Which means that light is sharp in those areas.
How does this damage occur at all? Like, there's this blocking it, anything
So
reaching.
where I think the best of it is, if we can rotate to the front, I actually think the best of it is along this line here, which is exactly where
Get the
it's
most
going
of
to
it,
take.
and on the handle.
Yeah, these are done really, really well.
Also under the gun.
Under here.
No, on the shoulder pad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because it's
where
it's
gonna
always
touch,
going to be
yeah.
dinting and touching.
Yeah.
Overall, the color choice I really enjoy.
Yeah.
And I tend to be partial to these sort of, bone or tanny sort of tones.
With red.
These probably stone is the right color.
Yeah.
I think unfortunately the face is just not given enough attention because we're all looking at the armor and everything, but the face is still the most important part. And
also,
there's just not much there.
This has been painted sort of universally lit,
Yeah.
but even universally lit things, light should still be represented on the top of these miscellans, right? Like they need to be.
Unless they're light. Unless they're light sources, but then there's no.
I
there's
think
there's
they're
no balancing
miscellaneous,
out.
yeah.
What's
And then-
this red?
Yeah,
Oh
this
yeah,
is-
there is
Yes,
some
there's a
red
red
in some
below.
places, but it's inconsistently
yeah.
implemented. Like, that's quite a lot there for.
Ballpark, what are you thinking?
Cut commended bubble.
I'm going to say this is a commended based on, I'm starting to constantly flicker back to
Yeah.
what we have in that space.
Yeah.
And I definitely have this above some of the other things that we've
Yeah,
had.
I
So we
think-
can go into the bubble, but I think this is going to go towards commended. We've
Yeah,
got a lot
probably,
in the
yeah.
bubbles right
Yeah.
now, so we do need to make sure we're
Yeah.
making some fair
It's the
decisions.
face that's letting me down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Commended?
I'm completely fine with commended.
Okay.
Commended.
Fair gadget over there.
It's creative.
Yeah.
Are these real circuit
Yeah,
boards? Or
yeah,
is
they
it-
are. And he's got a real bolt in his mouth.
Yeah.
Challenging some core principles of miniature painting by having things that are not painted,
How?
Yeah.
Did
Very
they actually?
carefully, I would imagine.
Yeah.
No, but these are like.
Yeah.
This has been custom,
Yeah.
ordered.
No, he made them himself.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So
Yeah.
It's
like-
not custom ordered. He
custom cut.
he cut everything himself. Yeah.
So I guess you know what we can compliment on this? There's a craftsmanship about this
Yeah.
that's really, really cool, right? And it definitely has some of the more scale modelling aspect sides of how he's chosen to story tell. I think the goblins are really cute. I am finding it very, very hard to get past having like what feels like unpainted. Like this bolt here, I could be very wrong because this is very, very much painted but very silver. But this.
But in
it is
saying
painted,
that,
but
Yeah.
it's just at the one. It's got the one.
Yeah.
But it's also the fact that it's in line with the base that it's unpainted.
Yeah.
So it is a deliberate choice.
Yeah.
So it's in that sense it's a narrative choice.
I mean,
rather
maybe what this is about painted goblins interacting with the real world. Right?
Yeah, well, that's what it feels like to me.
Yeah. So
Where does it land? Commended?
yeah, I mean,
It's not quite get to
Yeah.
bronze for me.
no, I'd have this in commended just because I think it's
I,
fun.
I want to
it's fun.
reward this
Yeah.
idea
Yeah.
because I think it's a great thing and I want them to continue
more of it,
thinking
yeah.
about this sort of stuff. And I think some of the painting is really quite good. There's a lot of cleanliness and the volumes have been well realised. Maybe some of the textures here and here are not so good as some of the rest. And I do like the helmet in the texture in the hard hat in terms of painting. Colours are very simply implemented, so at a mastered level.
I mean,
It's
between the
commended.
two goblins are interacting nicely with each other color-wise.
Colour choices are good.
Yeah, it's a commended.
Yeah.
It's a cool model.
More pirates. This was Judge Gibson as
Yeah.
well. There are some things that I really like on this figure.
Yep.
Yeah.
My initial feeling with this is the commended bronze bubble. not the commended cut bubble.
I really like the leather. This is the best of the best part of the entire model is this leather
Quite
strap.
like I like the warmth of the coat as well.
Yeah,
Personally.
yeah.
I really like that. I think
And the
right here,
interpretations
this is
of the
I
volumes.
really like this.
Yeah.
Right here. That angle there just sings for me.
Yeah, that's the best
Yeah.
best angle on the model. Unfortunately, it's the back.
Yeah.
I do like the color
shadows
zones in the
good,
face, but
yeah.
it's losing value in the chin here. Like this is a big, strong chin.
Yeah, it's got
Needs
jaws.
to have more value represented within the grey of the chin here.
Definitely does jawline exercise. Yeah, I'm gonna stick on mine in the. I'm gonna stick on the.
I'm only commended on this.
Yeah, I'm
but
commended
we
bronze
can
bubble.
go commended bronze bubble. What
Yep.
do you want? Yeah, commended bronze bubble.
Go from no saturation to
This is a strange model choice, and it's hard to look at. Like, not because of the colours. It's just hard to see things past the horns.
yeah.
Nat and I had a passing comment when this was brought to the table. Nat, you had something to sort of share about the fur.
Yeah, I think like the fur, the actual thought to the growth patterns of the fur, the length of it, and all that sort of stuff, I think is actually really
Excellent.
well considered.
And then I think it stops there.
Yeah, I think this is a really strong piece on the fur. I think
I really do like the texture and markings within the
Yeah.
horns as well.
You guys are gonna have to sell me on this one because I mean I'm looking at a purple polka dotted moose,
Yeah.
and that's cool. Like it, do things out of the box, get creative. But like, number one, like it's an academic.
yeah,
I mean, yes, we do
This
say
goes
do more with
commended bronze
academics.
bubble to me just from the technical level.
I'm a commended cut bubble for this person.
What about you?
I would think, I don't know, because the work on the fur is fantastic. As an overall piece, it is very one note.
And it's hard to look at.
Yeah. And it's just a case of the subject matter and the actual model itself is a very difficult one
To
work
look at
with.
and work with,
Yeah. The other thing is there's no overall like lighting or anything. It's missing a lot of the elements that push it up into being great.
One thing I will say is what I appreciate about this
Fade
piece,
from pink to purple.
what I appreciate about this piece is that it's forcing a conversation,
Yeah, absolutely.
and that's what a part of miniature painting should be about. So.
That's kind of the part that I'm conflicted with. And sorry, just with the lighting, I meant more so that the lighting between the sort of something that bright with pink would naturally be reflecting a bit of pink on any shiny areas that might be on
Yeah.
horns and things
Yeah.
like that.
Underneath,
So that's more so with the lighting. There's no sort of global
So
consistency.
you're on the commended cut bubble.
Well, I mean, if we're going to talk about like having like, we've talked about a lot of the positives,
Yeah.
like
So what are the negatives?
Okay, well, these polka dots feel like they're actual just polka dots. Like it doesn't feel like fur. Does fur present this way?
But it's not meant to.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I think
Well,
that
I get that. Like I understand. Okay,
Yeah.
that we're making choices, but like, if we turned this into a normal set of colours,
Yeah.
I feel that one thing we would be criticising would be that these dots feel quite unnatural.
Yeah, but it's not normal colours. They are unnatural
Yeah,
because
it's-
it's like a god representing itself. This is just what
Well,
I'm
it's a
thinking.
god.
It's a god. It's a god.
It's a god representing
Yeah.
itself.
As a moose,
God
and
moose.
so it's got regulars.
Yeah, we are.
I like this moves.
I quite like it too, but
Great moose.
I'm unwavering on what I think of it.
so commended cut bubble.
Yeah, for me.
If you're commended bronze bubble.
You two are both
Commended bronze bubble. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Solid commended, I would be.
Call it commended.
Call it commended.
Yeah. Okay.
Alright. What is going on this?
A lot.
Does anyone know whether this model originally had wings?
No, she doesn't.
Yeah. So that's how it's been.
Yeah, or is it part of? It was like a cut down version of a larger one. I think.
It's brave in the model choice.
Yeah.
It's a brave model choice.
I can't remember
I'm
actually.
cutting this. I can't understand what's going on. My straight reaction is cut. Like, what is this? What is going on here? What is this?
Well, mate, we just let's do our best to have a look at it because we just made exceptions for polka dots. So.
Look, I
think
can't.
it's-
Okay, look, go
God
have a look at
yeah,
it.
The polka dots were committing to the bizarre.
Okay. You think this is
This
not
is
bizarre?
white,
This is not
so
an attempt at bizarre.
it needs to follow the natural.
That's a really great
laws.
point. Strong defense of the moose. I agree that this is a cut.
What is going on with the light on the face? I can't understand. Can you figure it out?
So
Can you tell me?
I think that sometimes there's like this. There is like imagery that's made of like this hella high contrast, reflective, almost wet but not in this environment, and
Yeah.
it does create very unusual light patterns. But I don't think that this is.
Yeah.
With all that in mind, there is a world where maybe some of these reflections could potentially
Yeah.
exist.
But also that as well.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the least of the things.
the mount marks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm in
For
the
a painting competition
Yeah.
at master level, so
Yeah.
it does matter.
Oh yeah, no. I'm saying it's the least of what
Yeah.
Least of the
matters.
issues, yeah.
Yeah. Look, I think on this one, I think that there's been an incredibly bold choice in the different colours presented. It almost looks like she's dancing under like floating lights.
So what
Like-
I'll say is we'll just
Yeah.
call this at a cut because we
Yeah.
have to be time conscientious. For this painter, if you make sure you find us and we
Yeah.
can have a chat tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, everyone agree?
Yeah.
How,
I wish we could spend as long as we want on everything. Oh, this one had so much potential to go further than it already is. I love this idea.
Yeah,
love it.
so do I.
This is a great idea.
It's the execution
Yeah.
from bottle to little friend.
This little bar here is unfortunately strange, and So
well, it breaches
we
the concept
thought
of
about
what happens with
Yeah.
a bottle. You know.
Yeah, like a splash
Yeah.
or clear
Clear
resin
rod,
bar
yeah.
or something might have been
Yeah.
great. And
You
there's
could
like
even do-
colour going over to his black area here. This is unfortunate.
Could have
And
potentially
you-
added-
like this hasn't been black painted out here properly.
You could even have a mounted bar that's very small coming off the front, so it's
Yeah.
floating.
Yeah, so it's barely
or
touching.
have him sitting on the cork or something like that.
Yeah.
To me, this is a solid commended.
I'm in the commended bronze bubble. Mm-hmm.
I would probably go commended. I don't think that.
The painting is well
Yeah.
executed.
I mean,
This is one of those classic
Yeah.
pieces you see pieces like this in almost every competition where if everything just gets bumped one more notch,
Yeah.
it just
go
goes.
further.
yeah. I think this one is one of the ones where I would like to see whoever did
Yeah,
this
I'm being careful.
just fully commit and go really hard with it.
Yeah,
Commended then.
we both said commended.
This is the one that got broken before.
Doesn't
just
look
to let
like it got-
everyone know.
doesn't look like it
Should
got
never be
broken.
able to
Perfectly
tell.
fine, yep. This looks like a model that was done in Thibaut's class.
For me, the contrast is almost too high in some places in terms of the way that the fabric's being done. So it's
This looks almost metallic.
yeah, I guess that it's meant to be almost like a silky material, but the way that the fabric
Transition.
yeah, well, silk reflects in a very specific way.
Yeah. And if you don't get it right, it doesn't play.
Yeah.
And these lines here,
Yeah, these are.
painted way more cleanly.
Yeah. So I like the choice of like this is. It's almost like a violet white, right?
Yeah.
So it works.
Yeah, this
across
is
it.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
cool.
No, the lining is gorgeous, but
I think more has to be done with the gem this size.
Yeah.
I think these lines have to be incredibly neat. Like they just have to be when
They
you're
have
doing
to be.
shields.
Yeah. It just looks. Yeah.
If we can rotate it around. This is something that actually I have back at Guilds Inn
Yeah.
when I presented a figure. that had a similar shield to this. This was, and we had some purposely changed elements for the learning purpose.
Yeah.
Was one that almost everyone in the room was like, these lines have to be super straight. You know what I mean? Because it's how a shield. Sort
And
of
these
presents.
painted in hairs are cool. It's a great
do
idea,
like
but just two of them is not quite enough. I think it
Yeah.
needs just a couple of little small ones at the top there, just to.
Yeah, or
I'd like to talk
integrate.
about what I do like about this figure.
Yeah,
and one thing that I
absolutely.
really do like about the figure is the face.
Yeah.
I like the face. I like
It's a little bit patchy here, unfortunately.
but it's not affecting my enjoyment of it.
Yeah.
You know, as an overall piece, the face matches the rest of the figure. It's just
And-
the element that I do enjoy.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where each element was the idea behind each element doesn't match as well as it should be realized, I guess.
Like blue and red can be really,
Yeah.
they can sort of be
I mean,
a bit
it
oil and
can
water
be
at
subtle.
times. Can definitely work,
Yeah.
but sometimes it can be a bit oil and water
Yeah.
as well.
So where does it go?
I mean, my first instinct with
I think it's
this,
commended probably.
What do you think that?
yeah, my first instinct, I suppose, probably be closer to cut.
Yeah, me cut. I'm on cut.
It's one of those things. There's so many things that are kind of just on the edge of being really, really good with it, but just more time to push them.
You think that this here is not strong enough to hold this in commended category?
Not at Masters level.
Okay. Because I think this is not, but I do think this is. However, something that we always talk about is
It's the whole
I
thing.
can,
Yeah.
if I can get to it, I'm going to
Yeah.
get to it.
Yeah.
So.
And this bit of purple on the hair here is Anyway, that's a small thing, but why is it here? And
Okay, let's
You're
cut
in
them. You've both agreed cut. I said commended, so let's cut.
cut.
I thought we were going to see a lot more of this figure this year's event.
It's a very popular one, isn't
It
it?
is. And in saying that, I actually like a lot of the choices that have been made on this. This is quite a unique one.
Yeah.
I think this is probably one of the best that we've seen so far.
Yep. I mean, things that I'm really enjoying right now. I'm really enjoying all the nuance in this shoulder pad over here.
Yeah.
It's really working.
The medals
Yeah.
everywhere are nice. I
Uniforms,
like
yeah.
all of the colours.
Yeah.
Like they've got a depth of tonality within all of the medals, but it's used in a smart way to help the composition of the piece.
Just want to highlight earlier in the competition, we were looking at some metal pieces where we had one type of metal, it was all same and yet it hadn't been treated the same. And now a classic example, as we get deeper into the competition, our medals are uniformed now. You know, they've been in this little goblin's possession for the same amount of time. Like he's had this clearly. They're aging the same way.
Yeah,
Storytelling
all
is
they're made
really
by the same
present.
smith.
I'm really fond of this face. I think, green and pink.
Great colours.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's
Some
a
of
bit
the
chalky.
volumes are
Yeah,
not
they're a bit
perfectly
off. I'm really into this as
Interpreted.
like our first really solid bronze. What do you think?
Yep. I think this is probably a bronze. Maybe on the lower side of the bronze, depending on where we go with the rest of things. But yeah. What do
Yeah,
you think?
I'm
Yep.
happy with that.
Okay. Bronze.
That's our first bronze.
We're going from bottom up.
That's good to know that's working.
Yeah. Do you wanna?
Cliche archman.
What's your thoughts now?
I really enjoy so the atmosphere of basically like the way that all the colours are being toned into the different
Cold autumn day.
yeah. I think the only thing I would sort of that detracts from that with me is how orange the leaves are. So naturally, that sort of lighting scenario washes that sort of thing out, and it's almost like the orange is.
They haven't
pulling
been
me more
painted;
than
they've
anything
been
else.
added on.
Yeah.
I completely agree, and I think the solution to this is that it's just the brick color needed to change. You can have your orange.
Yeah, just warm up the brick colour.
Or paint them.
Yeah, or just a little bit of a slight, like a filter with either a contrast paint or an
wash.
anything over the top, just
so
to tamp down the
I
colour.
do quite like the work on the metals and the focus in this zone here.
I find this to be quite catchy in here. One thing I want to sort of get your guys' opinions on is like when these styles of bases are being done and we start to like implement scale modeling products into display painting. It's a point in time, right? This is a very old school way of doing bases. And I think there are, at this point now, some new school ways that still use these elements, but they enhance them. And so you touched on it 100% with like changing it with tints and things.
Yeah.
It almost, at this point now, has to be done because there's some scaling type stuff that happens with it occasionally. And
Stylistically
they kind of counter each other a little bit between the fact that it's a figure and then this almost papery, dry texture that happens with these leaves.
Yeah, I think with the leaves and stuff, scale modelling wise, it's very, very standard to just leave them as is. But when you're putting so much work into painting a gorgeous, really cold atmosphere into a piece, and then you're
it's
kind
jarring.
of letting yourself down by not
painting
including that
them.
into the additions that you put onto the base.
And so it clashes and it doesn't work.
Exposure. It's a bit
I
dark.
can get, I can
yes.
get that. That's,
Yeah. So you can actually see the
See it,
orange.
yeah.
okay,
There we are.
sorry friends.
Hello.
That's my bad. I should have picked up on that earlier.
How could you?
There's some stuff with the fur here as well, like with the volumes on the
Yeah.
fur.
Sorry. Can you turn him?
Trying to have a look at the cloak as well.
Do you want to hold it and have a look just quickly?
Slightly off camera. Yeah, okay, I see what you mean with the helmet. Yeah. The fur on the little ermine is really, really cute. That's nicely done.
What's your first feelings towards where we're placing this?
My first feelings?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were, I guess, our first and last feelings. We
Well,
liked
we
your
all
kitty,
agree.
barbarian man. We
We
liked
all
your kitty.
So, all right, we've had this model another time now.
Yep.
Yes.
And I want to point out that earlier I said how you interpret the eyes of
Yes,
the owl really
yes.
affects the way this piece is seen. Look at these eyes and the little pins, and it changes the scene altogether. So before it was an owl being cuddled and it was
Now it's been
willingly
throttled.
there.
Yeah.
Now it is not willingly
This
there.
owl is struggling.
And that is so cool to see.
Yeah.
Love
it
aggression.
makes me really love to see it. And this is a step up.
Yeah.
Exposure down.
Yeah, we can bring
Little
the
bit.
exposure.
Little bit.
So
Nope. Wrong
By the
way.
way. That's good.
Yeah. Beautiful.
you can get the entire feel of "Let Me Love You"
Yeah.
in this.
My initial impression in this is straight into bronze.
Okay. This is probably the best face I feel like we've seen so far.
Yeah.
Again, echo your sentiments about the eyes in the owl. I think it's very deliberate in the sculpt that we've got one set of eyes open and one set closed, so it's really telling you to play with the eyes. I like we're now seeing a colour in the shadow.
Yeah. And a consistent colour in the
consistent
shadow.
And so, like, look at the difference in tone between these polka dots, and it changes as you move around. So darker, darker, darker.
These are
darker,
some polka
brighter,
dots that
brighter,
I quite enjoy. These polka dots.
The texture
Good to
in
know you're
the
not
in the
polka.
fabrics here are nicely done. The apron, the cross hatching is good, and there's some scratchy elements.
I made a
The
criticism of the shell previously, and
Nice.
now we're seeing an
The
elevation.
face has nice colour zones and like purples in the eyes, red in the cheeks. So bronze. Bronze.
So bronze. I like the presentation in the pot. It's
Yep.
a really
Yeah.
great way.
This could be a high bronze,
Yeah.
potentially even
Do you want to talk
silver
to me about
bubbles.
tufts?
Well, they're
They-
painted. They're
yeah,
fine.
yeah.
What's wrong with them?
Nothing. I was just checking your opinion on them. I know you have a very strong feeling about
It's
tufts.
fine.
So.
I don't have any opinion
Yeah.
on these.
No, I'm happy with that. That's
This could be a higher bronze. So do we want to?
I would actually
this as
bubble
a
that personally. I think
bubble
it's a
silver bronze.
Yeah.
Silver bubble.
I think the narrative on
bronze
that
bubble.
itself pushes a lot.
Yeah, I think so.
I like that one. That's very well done.
Huh?
It just makes
Now-
me come back to it. It's fine.
Here we've got our first cobweb on a model.
No,
No,
not.
it's actually not. The first really obvious one. Wonder how it got there.
What was that?
Bird, obviously.
Cool color choice in this one. I love the warmth and fade to colder red down here. This
Yeah.
is well done.
Do you know what?
The non-metallics are good. So
Um,
go.
What I also want to mention is, it's probably one of the first, like, sort of really nicely treated darker skin tones that we've seen so far.
Yeah.
And they are very, very challenging because you're effectively working with an entirely different range of values that you can play with on the skin tone, but still keep focus.
Yeah, and it works really well with the sort of the tangerine, you
Yeah.
know, tones, the phoenix. I mean, maybe a criticism of this is that there's a lot of the tangerine and sort of orangey, peachy
And
sort of tones.
you could go further with the
It could
contrast.
get dark and
yeah,
we could even
so
slip
even
to
go
purple.
to purple.
Yeah, yeah. Let's. I think we can probably
Bronze.
at this point where we're at now. I think we can start making some clearly defined choices. So I think bronze is a great choice.
Yeah.
Bronze.
Yeah.
Bronze. I like this angled thing here, and then that the liquid is also angled, like sitting in the back. I like that.
You know, field of light projecting in is all in the right spots. There's nothing like overly pulling me on this figure personally.
No, neither. It's also not got like issues that are glaringly pushing it off.
This is one of those figures that another sort of archetype of figure that you see at a competition where you're like everything is just fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everything is well painted,
Yeah.
but it's not. Nothing jumps out at you.
Yeah.
I guess. And I suppose that is the difference.
Some
between-
contrast is good,
Yeah.
but there's also
There's a lot of maybe
lack-
missed opportunity in how to do the skin.
Yeah.
so where does it fit though? Because I don't know whether I see this going into bronze.
Yeah, I'd probably say
Bronze commended bubble.
no bubble for this. I think it's
Commended.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
yeah.
just
Yeah, I think it's just commended. Yeah.
at a master level.
Yeah. So what I'm really into here is all of these color choices
Yes.
are just killing it. They're just banger. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. And
Really good
and this is my first example of like, yeah, okay, this is not as clean through here.
Yeah.
This is a bogey. Like this is a tough texture to deal with. Like it's not particularly the
Don't like
best
it when it's
sculpt.
sculpted in like
I don't
that,
like
yeah.
that at all. But it
They've
does
handled it fairly
yeah,
well
and
for
it's,
what
this
the
is
difficulty
not
of
being
it is.
affected at all by how good these colors are up here. So for me, I'm like happy. Just this is a really textbook bronze for me. Face is fine. Colors are good.
Yeah. For me,
It's not quite reaching straight into bronze for me. You want to have a closer look?
I think it's one of those things where the back is really like the really gorgeous part of it.
Yeah. It's the thing that's letting me down on this model is the hair. The hair is an important part. It's such a big, important element of the face, and I'm not sure why I'm seeing these patches of like this is bright here, but then it's gone to nothing, and it feels a little bit off-putting to me. It doesn't
Yeah,
go
and I think
straight into
I
bronze.
think
for that.
all of those things are why it could never get any further than a bronze.
Yeah.
But I think
that
like
is
all,
so nice, but it's also the back again.
Yeah.
but it does come to the front. Like I think when we
I
look
think
at
this
figure,
goes bronze commended bubble for me. So what do you guys?
I'm gonna hold my ground on that.
So you're going bronze?
Yeah, I think it's the bottom of
I
bronze.
would probably go bubble,
Yeah.
mainly because apparently cloth is my thing.
Yeah.
So looking at that, I guess the thing is you do have a sculpted cloth on there, right?
Yeah.
So in terms of what we're talking about with respecting the model, you've actually got guidelines
Yes.
on
Yep,
that
okay.
with the actual sculpt of sort of how and where those stripes should be.
Mm-hmm.
But even with that, they're kind of fighting against the texture.
And there is a mold line in here.
I'm happy to say that this here I just like too much. So
Yeah.
my feet's on the ground on that.
Mold
Yeah.
line.
Is there a mold line?
On the finger in here.
Edge highlight those mold line, guys.
That's
Christ,
that's that.
Bronze commended bubble.
No, you
But
can put it. You
I
can
still
put it
think
where
it
you
is
want.
still quite
You can
strong.
put it in commended because that just got.
Yeah, if it's got a mold line in Masters, like it's just got to go. Sorry, I'm not going to win that.
It's a
fight.
small one. I can see how they missed it. This is a strong one. Unfortunately, the skin is very, very blotchy. It's you'll have to have a closer look, but I'm not sure if it's even visible on camera.
Looks so strong on camera.
Can you see it on that angle there? It's
Nah, it looks really good on stream. Oh yeah, you
very blotchy. But it's strong. The light placement and the position of the paint is very good.
I think I judged this at Gills, and I believe I had it in the sort of bronze element.
Yep, I'm pretty much straight into bronze for this.
Yeah, cool.
This is going to be a
I like the marble work on
And the
it.
marble's cracking. It's one of the most interesting.
as much as I love this one, I think it's pretty rough.
The paint
So-
work is very rough.
This reminds me of 3 back, where
Yeah.
everything was fine, but it didn't get anywhere. Like didn't get there.
Commended.
This one is like in a different way. It's like it's not everything so much as fine. It's like everything's and then it's got one or two elements that are sort of like cool, but
Yeah.
it's probably
And
Commended.
not in the
unfortunately-
medals for me.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think a lot of that has to do with the sculpt itself because it's such
It's
a
so
sharp
yeah.
I really like this.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
tone.
And this blade here and here, yes.
Yeah,
Well presented though.
yeah.
Commended. This is nice.
I really love the colours in this.
Good colours. Very nice colours.
And the treatment of actual blonde hair as well, without being yellow, is
Yeah, look, I know we talk a lot about what we think about things, but sometimes it's about how they make you feel as
Yeah.
well. And like when I look at this, I really it feels great. You know?
Yeah.
It's sunflowers, they're all there. You know, I like the peacock. There's a consistency across the whole piece.
yeah.
It
It's
probably
really powerfully emotive.
yeah, it probably falls into
Commended.
commended for you. Okay.
I would possibly push up.
I do like these feathers.
The amount
So
of,
it's close. It's close.
Yeah.
It could be bubble.
Yeah, I mean,
Could be bronze commended. Contrast is lacking to me.
yeah. So is it the flat? What's keeping it out of bronze?
The work through all of this is very flat. The whole head crest feels quite flat.
Okay.
Color wise, it's gone from orange to yellow, and then it's got some green elements here, which is dark green to light green. It's orange to yellow, but it had the potential to just really use the temperature to work for it there. You could get some little elements of red and purple in there. Change the tone of just the inside of these daffodil, whatever kind of
yeah,
flowers they are. Maybe change the tone of each of these flowers as you go further. So more yellow here, go orange, red down here. Add a bit more tonality within these. It's good. I do like this transition from yellow to orange to magenta. Take it a bit
Yeah.
further, and then you've got quite a consistent tone with all of these feathers as well. So you've got that transition here, but not within this. It's close. It's starting to do some really advanced stuff, but it's just not quite there. The NMM, it's close. So close. Could be a bronze. You guys might have to be the breakers on that for me.
I'm going to say this is a bronze.
I would be happy with bronze, just in terms of the strength of the way the different pieces are being handled, as well as the
Peacock feathers are lovely.
yeah, and also check the underside of the peacock's tail. That attention to detail, like it's not perfectly executed, but
Yeah, I'm
it's
sure the
there
contrast
and
could
it's
be higher,
considered.
and maybe this could be rendered better, but it also could be rendered a lot worse.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course.
Yeah, so
And it is a very difficult color palette to work with and keep strong at that level of saturation across the entire thing. So in terms of
do I like to see more contrast in things?
Yeah.
Yes. But it's not always about what you personally like.
Yeah.
It's about where you think it falls. And I think this falls into bronze, and I think we will see in every metal field we're going to see a scale.
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Of course.
Yeah, so I think that this is scaling towards the lower side of bronze, but I still think it's a bronze.
Okay. Bronze.
Something completely different.
Is it solid?
I like its composition.
Can I say
Like-
I like the background. It's suggestive,
Yeah.
but it fades out. It gives a sense of perspective.
It's not trying to take over.
It kind of knows its limit, this
Yeah.
background, right?
It knows its place. It's in its lane.
Yeah.
I like the temperature
There's a
shifts
star
throughout
player and-
things.
Yeah.
Volume interpretation is generally pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe these muscle lines are a bit dark, but
Yeah,
some
these hooked
small-
blades are really like focused,
they're-
and,
yeah, they're
and then
nice.
there's like
and it frames it well.
yeah, we've got
Yeah.
the belt, so he's starting to use triangles, now as a field of focus to sort of emphasise the centre of the figure. I probably would have liked to have seen a bit of a raise in the volume around the flesh. It's quite dark, particularly around the face, because it does start dark and work its way up to lighter. So I think it could have been mirrored more in the figure.
Yeah.
Where does it fall though?
This is probably.
A low bronze, but maybe not. Could be bronze.
I probably think this is in the
Commendable.
middle. If we had a low bronze just gone, then I think this is probably
In the bubble then.
no in the middle of bronze.
Yeah,
Middle
I,
of bronze.
I think
For now.
so. Initial presentation and also, I guess, a level of technical detail on it. This would fall above what we just saw.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Yep.
So you're
well,
same
my
place.
initial reaction is bronze too.
Yeah, bronze.
Yeah. Bronze.
I'm just going to mute you for a second.
All right, so we will start moving a bit faster now because we've got to start getting through things. So as I pick up a
have an
model,
end line when it comes to time.
yeah,
So
as I pick up a model now, I'm going to ask you guys to call out where you think it falls right at the start. If we think all the same way at the beginning, we won't critique it. We can just move on. So this goes bronze for me.
yeah, I mean,
yeah,
Maybe a low bronze, but the composition and idea and the
composition's nice, space is nice,
story's cool.
painting's nice. I mean, it's probably on the I think, yeah, I think it's probably.
Good stuff.
Let's not over polarize though.
Yeah.
Stop giving it anything. Bronze,
Yeah.
gold, silver, bronze.
Speed runner.
Commended.
This has some really strong elements. I think this is another bronze.
Again, another figure that I've judged previously. So I'm gonna, my thoughts have not changed, or the landscape of the competition has not changed around this figure enough. So for me, it was a bronze, and it will remain that way.
Yeah.
It's a solid bronze, but could be even the highest one we've seen so far. There's a lot of good technical work in here, a lot of fine detail. So
Yeah, and if you have a look on the back, I just want to point out you've got a nice.
Yeah, it's the patterning is consistent. There's time and thought put into it. I will call back again because we did it for the first one.
Great
It is
talking
one
point.
done in the
In a
class,
class.
with the expectation that you're following a certain set of guidelines.
But this one has
Yeah.
done the extra.
Yeah, that's it. There's something to differentiate it.
Okay, bronze.
Barbecue chicken alert.
This one's got a dangly bit. It moves around.
Yeah.
Can you see the chain?
Yeah, it's fleshy and gross. Right, this is a different type of painting, right? This is very grim and very dark.
Storytelling.
Yeah, storytelling in this is
Great.
yeah.
Fantastic. This
The
is what
painting
Leatherface does.
is not as technically high as maybe one of the previous, but
Yeah.
this is a straight into bronze for me because
Can we make it a bit brighter?
You know what?
Too much.
Yeah. There we go.
That's good.
So, lighting is great.
Yeah.
When I think of Leatherface,
Focus.
right? What I think about is dry, old, gross leather. A used apron and like blood splatters that just don't look flattering to look at,
Yeah.
and that's what this looks like. You
Yeah.
know. So I'm
the intent has been well
Yeah.
achieved.
yeah.
Can I also point out, just as a point of something I really enjoy, is on first view, the backdrop on the front
Yeah.
looks like it's a physical set of boards.
Yeah.
As it's painted though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the actual painting on that and the depth achieved by the painting on the backdrop is gorgeous.
The grime,
Yeah.
the grime is like all the way, and then like we love. I don't know about you. I think you guys are similar. I love Easter eggs. We got the
Yeah.
Dogma 48
Yeah.
in there. Focus is in the right place. Leatherface gets a bronze.
Yeah. There you go. Second one of these.
Big Rider. So I feel like this one is not as strong as the other one.
I agree.
Okay, and what did we end up with the other
That was
one?
bronze.
The other one was
Yeah.
bronze. The other one had tons of nuance, like
Yeah.
in how they.
So, like I said, when we pick things up, I'm going to ask us to call out what we think. I think this is commended.
Sure.
Yeah. I'd go with commended.
Yep, we
If
all
your
agree
last
on
one was
that.
bronze, then
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
But also,
I just wanna
I'm still
point
going
out
to
a-
talk about it.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely.
I want to point out a few things. Like the medals are a little bit flat,
Yeah.
so they're all one tone. It's not as lived in as the other one. So the gold here, this little buckle here is strong.
Yeah.
Certain elements like the skin in the pig is a bit flat, but the skin, the green bright tones is nice.
Yeah, like
would be
the
nice
fish
for
knees,
the skin between characters to have a bit of a different tone, but they're very very similar.
I think
it's
it's,
like the
it's
same.
struggling in focus a little bit. It's
And I think the skin is missing a bit of liveliness.
Like this.
like the character,
Yeah.
the caricature of the pig. That's
Yeah.
really nice.
And I do really like the striped pants.
Yeah, and I do actually think
Like this.
that there is a nice subtlety to the skin, but this green is a shocker for this. Like if you
Yeah.
go too subtle, it's not there
Yeah.
until you
Because
yeah.
you've got such a wide range within the green
Yeah.
tones of paint, because our eyes sees more within the range of green. If you don't go far enough, it can look quite flat, even though it hasn't been painted that flat. So
Yeah, commended.
Yeah.
Commended.
Commended.
Without a plinth.
Yeah. It's a really solid gaming piece.
Yeah.
Call out where you think it goes.
Look, I'd probably be going commended because, as much as it's a solid gaming piece, it's
base is not there.
it's the things that like we're at our masters national level painting competition, right? So
Bring the quality all the way through.
yeah,
The work here and up here and here is probably bronze.
Yes.
But then
I
it
agree.
drops off too
Yeah.
much the rest of the way down. So this is a commended,
Yeah.
but a high commended. And if that was maintained throughout the rest of the piece, it would be an easy bronze. Maybe
Yeah,
it
yeah, I
could
think-
go
yeah.
further.
Yeah.
Because
I
this
think,
could
yeah.
even go silver
I think
right in the face.
we see a few people that are in this sort of area of painting, where you're clearly very good at army painting and miniature painting in that regard. Now you've got to sort of bring yourself through as if you're going to do display painting, do display painting.
Yeah, and it is a bit of a jarring step up to take. I think it's one of those things where
Oh, there's a big gap here.
yeah.
That's fine.
Commended.
Yeah.
Odin? No, this
Odin.
one would be interesting.
Take
Oh,
the
number.
Oh, this number goes with that.
Thank you, Seamus.
Odin. Is this Odin?
Stuff that I'm enjoying. I mean, I know you want to.
This is clean.
This is very
Yeah.
clean, and there's just
that themselves.
okay. There's a lot of
Call out where you think it goes.
there's a lot of this is sort of in bronze for me.
Yeah, bronze.
Pretty clear cut bronze. And then what I really enjoy about it is just the presentation is just really nice. I think
Yeah.
snow is everyone likes snow different. I like snow a little
at
bit
the
different to this,
precision.
but
Yeah.
I love this color. This color shift through the purples. I love these antlers and this crowning sort
work
of
in the
skull.
Yeah, it's,
Precision.
it could be pushed further, but it is
Of
very
course.
nicely
Yeah.
Presented in like it's very
All of the
polished.
It's
So,
probably
all of the colours are starting
contrast
to
could
get.
have probably been raised. Isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
But like things that are they're doing really well, which we've talked about before. You've got yellow boots, but they go into the green.
Yes.
You've got the blue pants, but they go into the purple. You've got the red shirt, but it goes into the purple.
Skin is into
Yeah.
the purple as well.
Brown goes into the purple, so you've got that that shadow tone of purple throughout the piece, which is
Yeah.
consistent.
Yeah.
I think this goes purple too,
Even
and
the snow.
that you can take that further and
So what's been not taken far enough for me though is wood grain. Right.
yep, wood grain and maybe the splotchy
Yeah,
like
colour variation in the rocks.
And the snow on the rocks is kind of like it's not random enough. It's just spot.
I really look
Spot.
forward
Instead
to
of bigger
seeing-
clumps where it could, like this, there should be a big clump here.
Yeah.
Maybe a big clump here.
Yeah.
I really look forward to seeing like more from this person as
Yeah,
they go.
absolutely.
Yeah.
This is cool, but
Yeah. Really.
bronze.
Bronze for me.
Strange old man.
That's really cool.
Yeah, the
Really?
clear tube is cool.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really cool.
I like the work in the face.
Yeah. I mean, where is your initial?
Commended.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Again, there's like some really nice bronze elements. Like this
Yeah,
area
this
here
this
is
is
good.
fairly bronze.
This is nice. I like this green. I like the
This
softness.
is
of
close
it.
to bronze, very close. I think the flatness in the shadow zones is what lets this down because it feels unpainted.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like,
And the hair as well.
this is a challenge, right? Is that the hair is probably the thing that lets it down the most for me,
It's so clean.
and it's all on the back, right? It's not in the most pronounced. I mean, this is probably
this is so,
yeah.
it feels unpainted.
It needs
Yeah.
more there.
yeah, it needs more.
I guess the other thing is that the
I like
the
a
drop
lot
in
of this.
shadow on the skin doesn't match the drop in shadow on the
On the
clothing.
clothing, yeah.
But solid work.
Yeah.
I'm just really like it. I love the tube, like you
Yeah.
know, it's not easy
the
to
way that they're
incorporate.
applying the paint is really nice. I like the texture and the application of paint and
It's not easy to factor in unpainted elements in this.
Yeah.
It very, very rarely works. Let's be realistic. It's
Yeah,
working here though.
I think it
so-
does, and that is really work.
What do you mean factor in unpainted areas?
Well,
These?
the tubes.
Oh, the tube. Oh, yeah.
yeah.
The tubes, yeah, they're fine.
But that's
They're
a
good.
really hard thing to do. Is like
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
be like I'm going to
because
have an element
because
that's
it
not.
feels like how it should be.
Well, it's
Yeah.
not painted. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Commended. Yeah. This dude's had a bad day.
what the?
He's
It's an uncomfortable existence for this poor fellow. I'm challenged with the volumes.
And the angle that the head is, so I have to turn it like upwards to
Yeah.
see the face at all. Initial reaction. bang it out.
It's probably commended, probably for me. That's my initial reaction.
Why? What makes this commended?
Okay. Well, I mean, there's lots of vectors towards success in miniature painting, and this
So
is and
composition, storytelling,
and atmosphere.
application.
But atmosphere. Are they?
You can have that. You do
Yeah.
have to paint to a certain degree.
And you don't think
with
that
I don't think
reaches
that this
commended?
No,
Okay.
it's way too simply done. It seems almost. I know it's not, but there's some things that look dry brushed, like the hair, and the texture in the skin, and the rocks. It's
We've punished less at times. I'm gonna stay in commended. You're gonna go to cut. Nat, yours.
you want to have a
Tiebreaker.
question?
Me.
Gold.
I like how it's displayed.
I do like
Yeah.
the way the background has been painted.
Look, I would put commended onto this. I think another thing that should be rewarded is stepping outside of the box,
Yeah.
despite the fact that this is
It's
literally
in
in
a
a box.
Yeah. Get in the put the bunny back in the box.
But yeah,
What's in the box?
I would go commended on,
Idea alone.
well, not idea alone, but bolstered by the
Okay.
idea.
Yeah.
I do like the way the background has been painted. That's true.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So we're going commended then.
Yeah. Commended.
Just going to avoid looking at my friends now.
Call out where it goes. Bronze for me. Guys,
Yeah.
You know,
We're just absorbing it.
Yeah.
We've got to wait for you to move it around.
Yeah.
We don't have it in our hands. So yeah.
No, I think
I really love this lettering.
yeah.
I've judged this once before. I judged it in bronze the last time. Again, as I said earlier, like the competition has not shifted enough around it,
Yeah.
and it hasn't shifted itself, so it stays.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
The things that you're going to point out are the things that I'll just be echoing the same
Yeah,
things.
I had a chance
quite like
to,
this. This gets forgotten about a little bit. So.
I had a chance to have a little bit closer look at this earlier. Some of the blending and stuff is a little bit rough, but
This is a
yeah.
little bit less painted than maybe it could be.
Yeah, but the attention to detail on the actual cloth and the way that it works, it's my thing now.
Yeah.
This is really cool.
But the actual stretch of the material, how it's been considered from a technical perspective, is absolutely fantastic.
It's probably our best material so far. Or our best attempt at a type of material. And obviously it's all freehanded as well. So
So we go bronze.
Yeah. And also, like, concept-wise, it's adding so much to the model that just doesn't exist yet.
yeah, exactly. It's Sealy. I enjoy the time.
Tones, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But at this
I like this transition down here.
do I need more from a Sealy than just it to be well painted?
Yeah.
I think in this instance the painting is elevating, and it's not
Enough to go to bronze.
Really, well, it's not. No, I'm just saying it's not impacting that part of the decision making. Like I think and we've seen some Sealys previously, right,
Yeah.
where it's like we probably needed to see more painting or something creative.
Yeah, I think
This
that
is-
is this pushing it far enough to get recognition where the other ones didn't, I guess.
So yes, is it a bronze for you guys?
Look, I would be happy to push this into bronze. The strength of the actual painting of the face, the
The subtlety,
the focal point, and the actual dealing with some very
Contrast is
disparate
nice.
colours and
Yeah.
things like that.
it shifts it really well.
Yeah.
This is the part that I'm
Yeah.
least interested
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Some of these darker areas should be highlighted, but
Yeah, it's a bronze for me.
Yeah.
bronze.
Yeah.
Is this crown custom?
I think it must be, right? Because I don't know my way around this. This is all Ignis stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it all Ignis? Yeah.
I don't
It
know.
feels Ignis.
Or is this
Yeah, it
3D
is.
printed?
No, I'm pretty sure these are Ignis ones.
Do they all just have a different element? Because the last one was the sun crown, but still had a peacock.
Yeah, I know there is a Winter Queen, but I don't think that.
Winter Queen's she's
Yeah.
got a crown.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tran.
She's like this.
Research is a powerful tool.
They're closed.
Go to their Instagram.
I like the way that they've done the galaxy and like nebula work within the clothing. It's
It shows the spattering effect, right?
yeah, it's nice.
Thanks, Igna.
What?
Oh no, they're just Igna's the Instagram. It's fine. Slight distraction. Let's stay on
Yep.
target.
Yep.
Going for cooler skin tones naturally
Yeah.
with the Frost Queen.
I think the white is handled very nicely.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
peacock. Where does this go?
I like to see more colour in the white, and it's funny because if you look on the underside, there's heaps of like these soft little blues and things under there.
Yeah.
And they're not down there under there. I have this
Yeah.
closer to commended.
Me too.
Yeah.
Commended.
Commended.
Yep.
Real dream time element to this. Very celestial.
Yeah. So I think here's a good example of the back isn't painted, but you've got that backdrop
It's cutting it off.
occluding the
Well,
entire
it is
back.
painted,
Well, sorry, it's not painted with the same sort of attention to detail as the front.
but you can't see it well
Yeah,
enough.
it's been
Yeah,
cut off.
that's it.
It's been,
Worry about it.
That's what she's.
on the side angles that it is.
That's
it's
exactly
good
what
enough,
Nat's saying.
Yeah.
She's saying that.
Yeah, I think this is a good example of how you can do that and sort of a nice way that it has
Yeah.
been executed.
Again, we use these as like learning points for people along the way, right?
Yeah.
So we've had conversations about if you're not going to paint the back, then what are you going to do to tackle it? This
Yeah.
is an example of what you do to tackle it.
Yeah.
So,
Where does this fall for you guys?
I have this sort of like high bronze silver bubble.
Yeah, I think conceptually it's a lot stronger than a lot of the other things that we've put into bronze already. It's clean.
The use of different tonality
Yeah.
within the skin to make it feel like I don't know if this is a dark iron dwarf or not, but I love all of the use of different colours within the
Yeah.
skin. It feels very ethereal.
It cools off and warms up in the right
And the
places.
call out to
So
the
I
orange
could put
backdrop.
this on the bronze silver bubble as
Yeah.
well.
Before we go to a bubble and not crutch on the bubble, can
Make a
you
call.
just make a call into silver, or is it at the top of
It's
bronze?
not quite silver to me. But I don't know where the silvers are going to fall, so that's why we bubble this,
Yeah.
because we haven't gotten to silvers yet. So that's why we're not using it as a crutch, because this is our first bronze silver bubble, isn't it?
No, there's a few.
We've got a
Hot girl.
hot girl's in the bubble.
Yeah, she is. Yeah,
Okay.
and I think they go in there.
Well, the second one. What? Are you guys okay with the bronze silver bubble, or do you want to go straight into silver? Because
I think
do we want to revisit it later, or do we declare it silver now? I still think we need to look at it later, once we've seen the other silvers.
There's one vote for later.
Once we've seen the other silvers,
yeah, I'd
because
go.
we don't have any silvers
We
yet
don't
to
have
know.
to stick for it, I guess.
Don't need my vote then.
Bronze silver bubble. Like we might find stuff that's much more clearly
Yeah.
delineated as a silver. I like this,
No plinth.
but it's a tabletop piece. And again, this
all
might
the-
be done by the same guy
Yeah,
who
yeah.
did the other one. It's really solid here, but it drops off.
Of all the tabletop pieces that we've seen, this is the only one so far that I think could medal.
Yeah.
Yeah. My initial reaction with it is probably bronze.
Yeah, that's where I have it.
Yep.
But please,
But
just put it on a plinth,
Yeah,
especially in Masters.
yeah.
Bronze.
Grab.
I've been
Getting
good to
this
see
under
this
the
under the
light
light.
is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Is that the one on the northern road?
My initial thought would be that this would go into, it would start a good debate at the bronze silver bubble is where the debate starts, and I think we're going to go back and forth a little bit.
This one's going to be tricky. I like the composition. I like the use of the elements. I like the use of all these little dwarvy heads and faces in the base.
The one thing I'll say
A
is
lot.
that under the light is working well for
Much
this.
better than
Yeah,
it was
over there.
out
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Can I just have a look at? Can you have a look at how the sand, like how the dark? I just need to.
Yeah.
Sometimes these sort of these weathering powders can turn white. They can
Yeah.
get a little. It's
Have
how
they though?
It's getting close. It's just how it reacts sometimes with any setting agent that you've
Yeah.
used.
But in
Tough
saying
syrup
that,
painted.
it does.
It's
even-
work. It's working.
Yeah, even if it
it's-
pales out, it's consistent with the other.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, the light seems to be coming from here,
Yes.
this side, which I find is a very strange choice because to me the golden angle is here.
Yeah.
This is where the model is open to,
Yeah.
and so I want to see the model when I look at it here, but it's quite dark.
Or we can come in here as well. Like we can come fully
Yeah.
all the way both
Yeah,
sides
full
in.
top down.
Yeah, top down.
So because it's dark here, it feels a little strange. Like I want to see more of this brighter and more clearly painted, but it does have value. This is tough.
Probably this is these sort of reflections here are
Really nice.
Yeah, the top of that. It's a lot bolder on the camera, but it's done really, really well.
it's very muted.
It's very muted in here, and some things feel almost unfinished.
Yeah, and like it. This is flat.
I like this. I like
Yeah.
the work within this.
All right. So if we,
But the work in the rocks is really quite flat. Like
so what
there is a lot of color in there. This is so hard to
So
judge
okay,
this one.
how do you feel on the coin flip? You say silver. How do you feel?
Time-wise.
I like the edges. So silver.
So I say silver. How do you feel?
Yep, I'm okay with silver, but it's a strange one because I feel like it could easily have gone higher.
Okay.
Some
but if
things
that's
don't
the
feel.
baseline, then
For you, if
Yeah,
silver,
I'm
okay.
okay with
and then the
silver.
same again though. If we say bronze,
I think it
It's
shows.
not a bronze.
Yeah, it
Okay,
shows.
then we
a
know
lot
what it
more-
is. It's a
It's
silver.
too good
There we
for a
go.
bronze.
there we go. Sometimes you just gotta.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Silver.
Okay.
That's in the commended bronze bubble for me.
Commended for me.
Yeah,
I'd probably go.
I would go commended. It's lovely, but it's still very rough.
Yep, commended.
Rough.
Was there anything notable that you wanted to point out on this? Because we're moving quicker.
I like the choice of colors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the color palette
I'll
is
bring it back.
gorgeous. The attention detail on the actual, like the tiny bamboo shoots and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
It's nice.
They're tiny, but they're still well painted.
Presentation.
Yeah.
The blue and magenta with these gold parts, it's got some really nice stuff. The technical painting work just needs to be better for a set scene like this.
Yeah, and the reflections on the water are really lovely too.
Yeah.
Commended. This is a swole character.
This is Neko.
Yeah.
Initial reaction is commended.
Initial reaction is commended. What I do like, really enjoy this little section here.
This
Yeah.
part here is
Again,
really
the
nice.
weathering, probably we're having the same conversation we had earlier about weathering. Just if you're going to do weathering,
It needs to make sense.
Yeah.
consideration, it makes sense. What made the indentations? How did it happen? How
Unfortunately,
long
the
ago did it
face,
happen?
the face again is lacking where the other areas are. Like this is cool. This is really cool. Really like this stuff.
Probably not executed highly enough back here for
But-
metal contention.
Yeah. The hair is nice too.
Yeah.
The fur is really rough here, which is like right in the focal
Right in the
zone.
focus area.
Commended?
Yeah, commended.
Commended. Close.
One boy.
Type it in a tree.
This is solid.
It is a very, very washed out piece, but it's intentional.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
always.
That's the thing.
Back
You
to
know.
nature.
Again, I mean, you can see who's painted it on the model. Their signatures
Well,
on the model.
yeah.
They have a style, and this is a part of their style. This is the
Yeah.
way they like to paint their figures.
But I think it's
But
one of those
even-
things of, just washed out intentionally versus washed out by lieu of.
Yeah, it's
more being
choice.
like-
It's
yeah.
all choice. Yeah.
So yeah, and you can read that intention because of all of that subtle nuance within
Yeah.
within the tones. Like you've got different yellowy browns over here, more green
There's a
because it's in the
firm
shadow.
attention to detail to every leaf.
Yeah.
And they're not just like the same green and yellow. There's like different greens and yellows in there subtly.
If the blues, I probably like. I appreciate the subtlety, but if we're gonna have an
pop
emanating
blue.
glow, it probably needs to come out a bit more. And it's just be brighter for me.
I don't find that myself because it's quite shadowed, but
Yeah, but it's casting up to here, right? Is that what's happening?
I don't know. I
Yeah,
think that's just a blue
clashing.
environment
Okay.
light.
Yeah.
And I think if,
I really
if that
like
was
them.
any brighter, it would be detracting from the focus of the face.
It's not about the blue itself being brighter. Maybe
Yeah.
I need to clarify this
Yeah.
a little more. I just need it to be cleaner and punchier.
Yeah, okay.
I need that area to be more refined.
Yeah.
The really fun line work in the hair, I really enjoy that a lot. So where does this fall? This is a silver for me.
I would probably have had this towards the top of bronze.
It's a lower silver.
Yeah,
Could
I'd
be
be-
on the bubble.
I'd be happy to push this into silver.
Silver
Yeah.
or bubble?
I know I'd go silver.
Silver.
I have feelings about this piece.
Yeah.
There's so much about this piece that I like, and it gets hurt by some
small
a
things.
few small elements that are critical. If you want to point them out, feel free to.
There's a gigantic mold line right through the hand and down the arm here. At master's level, unfortunately, we go very harsh on that sort of stuff and it's just unacceptable.
So how the glue points.
What?
Oh, just points where things are attached to.
That haven't been sort of filled in.
Yeah, and it's just a bit. It's just. I've spoken once about
construction.
feeling about stuff, right? Like, I get annoyed at this, right?
Because it's so easy to do.
Yes.
And there's like another one here, and then like even the black work, you might not see it on the camera, but there's paint coming out. You
because
just
I
need to
wanna-
just black over this again.
I want to talk about what I like.
Yeah.
And I love these choices that are made, like
So-
primary colours.
Yeah, so
I
blue,
love
this one's blue, this one's red, this one's yellow, and the
And their
skin has got
moods-
those tones in it.
Their
and
moods
hair,
reflect it.
yeah,
like
it's great.
just.
It's got some really great elements, some things that just like it gets
Put my chair over it.
frustrating that it's got these problems that make us go real harsh.
If
on
it didn't have these things, I would have this in silver.
Yep.
So
Technically, the painting is at a lower silver level, maybe bronze, but because of the way that they've done the ideas and everything, it elevates it.
yeah, it's the whole idea of the conceptual element is.
Yep.
It's really strong. So where do we put this? It goes commended because of those problems, doesn't it? It
No.
can't be bronze because of the mold line and the...
I
You don't even think it could be commended?
No, I think it could probably. Because I have such strong feelings about the positive sides of this
Yep.
figure, feel that it could be a bronze because of the positive being so positive.
Yeah, I'm far more comfortable with bronze than commended with this because it is so strong in other
Yep,
areas.
okay.
And I think that the docking from silver to bronze is enough of a.
It's enough of a reprimand
Yeah.
for a mold. Yeah.
A mold line.
There is another mold
There's
line.
a few.
This,
Yeah.
Ooh, throw it at the wall.
But I think like
Sometimes we've got to talk about rewarding the good things,
Yes.
and even in Masters, I like.
Yeah, and rewarding creativity is something that I think we've got a really, really wonderfully strong focus on.
In Australia.
Yeah. And I think it shows in how much people are willing to push what they're trying to do.
Right. Initial thoughts?
bronze.
Okay.
I will need to. Yeah, it's more just the side just gives me nothing but shadow a lot of the time.
Probably bronze, silver, bubble, maybe.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make an argument for silver. And
So one of my big pet peeves
yep.
is see these shadows and the darker zones. Mm-hmm. It's got a satin shot to it, and
Yeah.
seeing these shines within these darker zones, it ruins the piece for me almost completely.
I'm going to make an argument for silver, and that is like we talk about varying ways to win in these competitions,
Yes.
right? And one of the major ways, or one of the major criticisms that always falls around an academic is what do you do with an
Yeah.
academic?
How have you pushed it?
Is this not doing so many different things with an academic?
Yeah.
Is it not ticking so many of those types of boxes that we're looking for? Like, I can see why, and there are elements that I can see why we would just say bronze, but I mean,
So I would like to. I would argue for silver. There's a couple of things that I would.
Well, you guys are both silver, then
Yeah.
it's silver.
yeah,
That's fine.
it's the unique nature of this piece that's
Yeah.
presented.
But also the thought to the forced perspective of the birds in the background.
yeah.
Things like that, I think.
The satin does also
Yeah.
bother me. I am in agreement with you.
Yeah.
But there's too much elsewhere for me
Yeah.
that counteracts that.
Is the satin a big enough sin as a mold lining?
Can you hear me? All right, Bundog here. We're just taking a really brief moment just to look at something. We're here. I am. Hello. The judges are just taking a really quick moment to double check some things. But we'll be back. We'll be back very shortly. All right. I'm so sorry. Intentional mute. I swear. Okay. Enough of me. Bye.
I don't think it's about. There's not.
Can you hear us?
We're back.
We back? Are we good?
What is unique about this to you guys? Because I could be brutal on this, and it feels harsh to be brutal because there are things that I like. I really like the white paint, the spots. I like this red dot on his forehead, and
Okay. When I look at the field of what we have here today, and when I look about all the different ways that miniatures can be presented, right? This stands out as a way that you can present your figures and succeed in a miniature painting competition.
if we hold ourselves accountable to things that we've said in the past, like if you're going to do an academic bust, what creative liberties are you going to take? How are you going to convey a story? How are you going to present this figure? What are you going to try to tell us? Then
Yeah, okay.
I think it's a case of, I do agree. It's, can you and will you go above and beyond to push it, like take the canvas that is an academic, and how are you going to make it yours, basically? Because it's the personal element and the making it yours that pushes any academic past.
But this feels like the bare minimum of going beyond the academic to me.
you've got my vote for this. I just want to address something
Yeah.
quickly.
It's a background, it's some painted ground, and the birds, while I do like the force perspective like you said, I feel like this clumpy connection point feels like the way that they're connected, it's with the glue, feels clumpy and ugly to me. I do like these rocks painted into the background that you can barely see. There are things that I do like about it,
Yeah.
but it doesn't reach into silver to me. But I'm the only one who thinks that. I think
Okay.
so. It's going to be silver,
Yeah, look, I would,
especially with this big area on the front of it that is
Yeah.
dark but reflecting satin.
All right.
I mean, you didn't hear all the things that I just said, but you guys are obviously going to outvote me on this, so this is going silver, right?
Yeah, I'm going to say that this is a silver.
yeah.
Silver.
It's okay, Dave, I still love you, I promise. There you go.
All right.
Sword
This is the
is
same.
really letting it down.
Yeah.
It is on a plinth, though. We will celebrate that.
So where does this go? Bronze?
I think it probably falls.
Falls further, commended,
Yeah, I think.
or not at all?
So this
The sword is pretty bad.
this is gonna get me out of anything now.
Because
personally.
it's such a focal point
Cut?
of the model.
Yeah, it's probably going to take me pretty far out, and it's just because Space Marines like
But get it back in screen.
So
Do you need to have a look at all? Or?
no, that's right. It's,
I want to
How does
remain
it-
consistent, and I want to
yeah. I think
have an emphasis on consistency. So
personally for me, Space Marines kind of fall in that same thing of the
If it's going to be a
academic button.
Space Marine, it needs to be special.
Yeah, like if you're going to criticize an academic for being basically a cookie cutter thing, then I feel like Space Marines kind of.
I'm fine to cut it if you guys want to
yeah,
cut it.
well, and then we did have one in. Did we have one in Commended that? Could you check? Is there a Space Marine lieutenant in Commended with a green backdrop, please?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the difference between the two
Yeah,
is probably that element.
Yeah.
So
It's a late cut,
there's going to be some in that regard.
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah. I
Especially
think that
since
there
it's
was
shuffled.
maybe some misconception about when we had things brought over to the table, they weren't necessarily placed where they're supposed to be.
Of course.
They were just guidelines.
That's how we, because it was just, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's setting a general order, and it's also done so quickly that
Yes.
things get missed.
Yeah. This is strong. It really, really feels Nurgle-y to me.
Yeah.
It's achieved the Nurgle intent.
Nurgle's
Yeah.
rot is evident in
Yeah.
the space.
The rust is impressive. I really like the way the rust is
The
been done.
attention to actual
And the slime and this little guy coming out it down here.
and that little element of slime dripping down the base as well.
Yeah. I do unfortunately find this non-black on the
murkiness,
plinth
yeah.
a bit off-putting.
I think shadows
But
sometimes.
thankfully
need
it's
to
only in the
become-
back.
Shadows tend to need to be a bit deeper in small scale, personally.
Yeah. So where does this fall? Bronze silver bubble. I do really like this bright focal zone.
Can I come over your shoulder for this one?
Go for it.
I'm probably on the bronze side of the bronze silver bubble.
Yeah. Yeah, I would go bronze.
It's just a really solid,
yeah, no,
you know.
For once, I wasn't the harsh
Yeah.
one. Bronze.
I think when you watch this tape back, it might not necessarily be all that way. I think this is not. This is now an example of the
Out
fact
of
that we had
place.
120 models on a
Yeah.
small table. So
Yeah.
This is a cut.
this is a cut from me. Again, if you receive a very strong and distinctive result immediately, and you don't hear us talk too much about your figure, please come and find us tomorrow, and we'll have a discussion.
Yeah.
We have to be very conscientious about our time frame, and we all love to talk about miniatures, and we all get lost in talking about.
And we will
miniatures.
spiral if we're not kept in check.
I'd love to talk about it for hours and
Yeah.
hours. The shield is the best part of this model, although I do also really like these scales and the blade.
I judge this in standard at Guilds in, and if this is at the Masters,
Yeah.
now it's in Masters, that's different for me.
Bronze,
Well,
or maybe commended.
yeah, it's definitely on the
Bronze
side.
commended bubble.
I'm comfortable in commended.
I would probably recommend it. There's a few things that are lacking that would otherwise
The
bring
face
it
is
more.
quite flat.
Yeah, there's so much depth in the rest of the
Flat.
model. So I'm okay with the owl because that looks like a deliberate choice to be
Yeah.
You are effectively just representing two floating eyes at that point in time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the face and the skin that lets it down for me.
Leather's quite nice, but yeah, the face and the skin doesn't have enough
Yeah.
depth of colour and tonality and colour zones.
There are so
Commended?
many other things that are
Commended.
just gorgeous, but
Oh,
tufts.
yep.
You can hatch it.
Oh, the model is so worth more than that much effort on the task.
At least my tufts are painted.
Please paint your tufts. Don't just whack them on, especially if you put this much effort into a model. This model is really well painted. I think the model is probably in the silver, right? But
Yeah.
those tufts almost put it down to commended for me. It just ruins the scene. Because if I just do this,
Yeah.
what do you guys reckon?
Um,
It feels so harsh.
and where are we? We sort of at a bronze, and then it goes to a commended. Is
Almost
you
silver.
are
I think
almost-
it's because the presentation of tonality and the colours and
Yeah.
the textures, it's close to silver, I think, and it's
Yeah.
going to go bang down to commended because this is just
can't
so
get-
ugly to me. I can't get past it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm probably falling all the way down to. I think this was on the bronze commended line, personally.
You don't think the paintwork here is almost silver? Why not?
Well, I mean, it's a pointless debate because you're removing this quite far based on the base alone.
Yeah.
So, I think I'm comfortable in this, as a commended piece.
I could even cut it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you want to make an
just gonna-
argument for cutting it, then make the argument for cutting it. I'm here. I'm listening.
Oh, well, I'm just known for that.
Yeah.
Dislike of unpainted tiles, and I'm not going to change my
consistent.
stance on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And if I can be harsh to people and then they won't do it anymore, then hopefully that'll happen.
There's a lot of quite
this is-
jarring contrast. This is really nice, but the contrast on this bag's really quite aggressive. It's
Yeah.
I find this to be how the paint's applied is probably not as high as what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
I've suggested some things in bronze that I just think are flat out better than this. So, I mean,
Yeah.
commended would be the highest I could possibly go on this. But if we're going on a cut based on the tufts alone, then sure.
I would be happy.
There's always going to be some harsh points.
Yeah, yeah. I'd be happy to put it into commended, but also
Commended
It's-
cut bubble.
Right.
Commended cut bubble.
okay. If she floats,
This one's cool.
Yeah. I'm going to call out what I think for this. It's a bronze for me.
Like this.
There's so much that I like,
yeah.
but it's a bronze entry.
Yeah, I think that's about right. Like, if
Yeah.
the painting was implemented to a higher level, this could easily rise and rise again.
Yeah.
I really want to reward it. Like,
Yeah.
I almost want to reward this idea
Yeah.
Yeah.
to silver just because of how
Bronze
good
is
it
an awesome result.
But yeah.
Yeah, the actual resin work with the different colors in the resin is just gorgeous.
Yeah.
That's such a great idea, and it's well executed. But if that amount of detail had been put into even just her dress,
But also,
It's very
this
grey.
figure is much bigger than these
Yeah.
figures here. There's some scaling elements that are a challenge.
Yeah.
This is just a great step in the right direction
Yeah.
for this painter, and I think bronze is a very worthy.
yeah, no, I think
Basic
bronze is a nice place for it.
Yeah. Happy with that, Dave?
Yep. My initial reaction to this is a bronze.
This is very strong in its concepts,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then it just
Technically
it's
is
technically
let down.
let down.
Yeah.
So bronze is fine for me on this.
The face is very, very dark.
Yeah.
I was hoping once I got it under a lamp
It'd
I would
pop
see
out a
it
bit.
more, but it hasn't.
Is there anything that could weigh it further down from bronze?
No, I don't think so. I think it's probably a lower bronze in the technical sides, but I really like the color choices and the way they've implemented the atmosphere. Like their technical blending and stuff it could be better all over. That's something that they probably need to work on. But their color choices and even
the
just
light placement as well
yeah,
is gorgeous.
and the amount of depth of tone within the color all over the model is very, very high level, which
Yeah.
is impressive. So
Alright.
just getting a bronze is okay.
Bun, can you just mute us out for a moment?
Intentional mute.
Is close to gold.
Okay.
It's a bust at a very small scale, but it's
It's
very,
tiny
very
scale.
well implemented. Everything
Yeah.
is technically absurdly good. The face is magnificent. Probably it's
Also
probably a
severely out
silver.
of focus. Thank you.
It's probably a silver.
I would say silver because I love the painting on it. But if we're going on the aspect of what did you do to add to the model,
Yeah.
they've arguably cut down from the model.
Oh, it's not even glued on. Sorry, I just saw it spin.
I've not actually. Can
Yeah.
I have
Just
I'm just going to take it off screen for a moment because it's so small. It's
Yeah.
going to be.
This is
probably
like
a
magnifying
silver.
glass level.
a high silver though. Or do you want to go silver gold bubble?
No, I have that in bronze personally.
Bronze.
Yeah.
Why?
It's a half of a Warhammer figure presented on a tiny plinth. the painting is good, but there's nothing for me that's like wowing me or like elevating me into like a really, really
Not just the
nice-
idea of using a Warhammer model as a bust to
No.
give a tiny scale bust at this
Not
high
really.
level.
It's not landing for me. You know, we can just have I guess a difference of opinion there for that. But
So silver bronze bubble then, or
yeah, I mean, I just have it probably in bronze.
it's
At-
pretty
at
high,
best.
well, highly painted.
Yeah,
Come
but
on.
it's okay.
No,
Half a figure, you know. Like I get it, we're turning it
Yeah.
into a bust, but it's
So all of these busts are half a figure.
no, not in that regard.
Why?
No, I would go silver. That was the first
Okay.
impression that I got, and
Like the colour shifting in this shield is magnificent.
I get where you're coming from.
You guys can outvote me. I'm happy just
Yeah.
to be on my hill alone on this one.
He's dying on this hill.
Yeah, it's a bronze for me, but that's fine.
How about low silver?
No, it's bronze for me. This is why we have 3 people. You know, we're going to see things differently.
Yeah,
We're
it
not- I
happened
don't need
to
to
get
you
outvoted.
don't need to be persuaded on everything. You know.
So this is an interesting one that I'm probably going to defer to you guys on because this is a very, very set style.
Yeah.
It's Old Hammer.
Yeah.
Bronze.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is much better than the previous thing, and I would still have this in bronze too. It's-
Technical level on
I've judged
this is
this
far
again.
below the last
I've judged
one.
this before.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's in its vein, you know.
It is, but some of the work on this is quite low.
Yeah. That's sort of like,
There's some like the work on this shield and the face and stuff is really excellent.
yeah. I mean, I could.
It's great.
I mean,
But
if you guys feel
it
as
hasn't got
strongly,
any elevated.
like I'm not getting moved either way, right?
Yeah.
So they both were just sort of like around that bronze bubble for me.
Yep.
I could even be talked further out, you know.
For this,
Yeah, like because I'm trying to think now about the event as a whole.
Yeah.
And what we've got coming. What
well,
we've
we
had
will
go,
still be
yeah.
going back over everything
Yeah.
once
Yeah,
we
you
get
guys-
everything there.
Yeah. So.
But I want to straight put this in bronze for now.
yeah. I mean,
Bronze.
Yeah. I think you two are arguing about
they're not
agreeing.
Yeah, it's a point. It's not even
Yeah.
an argument. It's
Yeah.
just we see things differently at
Yeah.
times, and yeah.
All of the micro textures on this are really, really lovely.
It's a shame the back of the chair isn't painted at all.
The King of Thor. I like this
Yeah,
figure.
all of the micro textures are well painted for sure.
I think there's lots that this could have been done to elevate,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
The colours are all very basic.
yeah, and yeah, like in the woods, there could have been lots of other things happening
Yeah.
around different colours.
The
and
hair is all
nuance and
just
stuff.
grey, the blue is
But
blue.
to complement this, it's very consistent.
It is.
Everything is done.
Technically strong.
Technically really strong. It's sound. This is
A bronze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Top of it.
Yeah, high bronze for sure. Is this Davy Jones?
I think it's like an
Jones-esque.
amalgamation of the. These are always really interesting. You don't really get to see them until you see the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, like an initial view on the racks, it's just like, there's a lot of blue, you know?
This
Yeah.
is a commended.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
voted in with commended.
Commended. Oh, I really like the work in this non-metallic metal in the shoulder.
Yeah, this is a custom sculpt.
Yeah.
So this is painter and sculptor.
Ooh, this hangs down. Better be careful with it.
I feel that this painter is jostling with scale.
Yep.
What do you think?
Yep.
And what it's because it looks like a lot of
Really fine, small text, like that could be just expanded and make it easier for
yeah.
themselves.
And sometimes what you see is like around the figure, particularly in the flesh tones, when you're going up in scale, you lose. You're not wrangling the whole thing. You're doing it in sections a lot of the
Volumes.
time, and it's losing its connection.
So there's some really nice work in areas.
Yeah.
But it's also a little bit bitsy.
Yeah.
The other thing I would say is the flesh tone itself is almost jarringly red.
Yeah.
I like the sculpt.
Compared to this,
I really want to say that I do
Yeah,
like the
and
sculpt.
it's not. Yeah, it's jarringly red compared to the
Ambience
absolute
of the rest of
normalcy
the-
of everything else around
This
it.
this is all really nice.
this.
No, the scabbard.
Yeah.
This is not.
No, I don't like that. And probably this is falling off for me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're getting
it's
some
got
more
that
highlights.
shine
And
within the
there's some
highlight
stuff
areas.
with the metallics that are like they probably need to be refined more in some spots and less refined in others.
Yeah.
This is just magnificent. though.
That's really nice.
And its consistency.
This is really
its
nice
biggest
too.
struggle.
Soft and subtle.
Where is it going to land?
My initial feeling is in the bronze.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bronze?
I would go bronze.
And always, when you're sculpting your own stuff.
Yeah, well that's it.
Very, very, another impressive
Impressive.
skill. Yes.
Can I just say, I really dislike textured cloaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the decision making
Yeah.
for sculpting in that regard.
Yeah, nothing on the
Doesn't
actual
work
painting,
for work
but
to paint.
yeah,
So Malekith, yeah?
Malekith.
Yeah.
Was this in
This
Guild?
was a guild, yeah.
In standard or
No, Masters.
It's a bronze for me.
That's where I had it at guilds. So,
yeah.
Some solid elements, but also it's
Just not quite pushed.
There's just
through.
something
the
about
focus.
it.
It's lacking
focus,
focus.
yeah.
It's all it's like everything is painted to the same resolution
Yeah.
across the entire model.
Yeah, and even at global lighting,
Yeah,
if you're
some
putting
nice like work between tones here. This
Yeah.
is really
It's just sort of like, this might sound harsh, but it feels a bit overdone. Like with the shifting colour everywhere. Like,
yeah, I think if you're doing that, you need to still make sure that you're really focusing on a point.
yeah.
It
Like
needs
pulling focus
to,
into-
and the whole thing needs to come together as a whole.
Yeah.
I find this to be technically quite solid.
Yeah, it's solid. This area feels a bit unpainted. I really like the colours in these gemstones, like the green to purple.
The green to purple's nice, using
Yeah.
purple as a shadow. I mean, again, yeah, I find this to be a very, very strong, technical presented figure.
Where does it land?
Where does it land for me in the scope of this competition? Because again, this is
Yeah.
another one that was
Yeah.
present at Guilds Inn.
It's probably a high bronze,
Yeah.
bronze silver bubble.
It's bronze silver bubble for me, and I think I could find an argument for hitting bottom of silver for this event. Yeah, but let's
Yeah.
go to the
Bronze,
bubble.
silver bubble.
A lot larger.
Perspective.
Can you zoom out a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah,
That's good.
This has very good presentation.
Yeah. I think this is a nice, a nicely
that.
presented.
It's great storytelling.
Yeah.
Like it's.
But it's also a nice way of doing it, where we were talking about sort of committing to the surreal
Yeah.
before.
I'm not sure whether is this the front?
Yeah, I think so.
Is this the front?
Yeah, I think so.
From where
On
I'm
the
looking
side,
at it
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this is the front, I think.
Yeah.
Or maybe here.
Okay, so
And
like we're
the,
missing.
the,
So
the light
yeah.
is in a strange place when this is the front.
So something that I think about with these is that how important is it that I understand whatever the message is that the sort of artist is working for you, right? And sometimes I think that's really important, and other times I don't. You know what I mean? And
I
this
don't
one-
think that matters to me in this case.
in this one, this is an argument I'm going to make for this one,
Because I don't understand it at all.
but I don't think that's hurting it in any way.
No. Because
Neither.
I like the mystique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why is she so big? I don't. Is she like
Blade
you know how
Runner.
it,
It's
yeah,
Blade Runner, the
it's one of those
hologram.
big holograms.
Yeah.
It's not painted hologram enough for me for it to be that. It looks like a real person
off
standing
joy.
there, a giant. I would have liked to see it like you know how they have kind of like those spots.
Shift, like a
yeah.
pixel shift?
Yeah, pixel.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it maybe like this character could have been rotated a bit, or maybe instead of having this online with the plinth, it could be across the angle. I don't know. There's a few things. I don't know where to put this. This is strange.
Stop. We're down to maybe 20 mils. If that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
You don't know where to put this?
I don't know where to rank it.
Where to rank it?
I think conceptually it's quite well done. The attention to detail and the storytelling in it
Silver?
through the actual painting.
Yeah, I think it's silver. I mean, it's really clean cut. It's really well presented. It doesn't have anything glaringly off for me personally.
Yeah.
Creatively,
Creatively, I
ideas.
like these things being present in competitions. I enjoy them. They make me think about them.
I like these little details. I like
Yeah.
finding these little things.
Yeah,
in
and I like
places
that the
and
scale
this sort of
feels
stuff,
all
yeah.
pretty appropriate. I
Yeah.
mean, she
Google
probably could be a
badge.
lot bigger, but I mean, we're how are you going to do that?
Yeah.
Like, you're working with what you're working with, and I
Stick it on
appreciate
an
it.
extended arm.
I like this element. Like, it's cute.
I would be very happy with that.
Silver, maybe a high silver.
Yeah. Place it at the top, Joe. Thank you. Please and thank you. Little Dickensian.
Sorry, man. Dave, you're my favourite person. Do you know that? So many people puts them on.
Little Dickensian chap who's ready to have it out.
I quite solidly like this.
Yeah. It's fun.
Check out the peacock feathers.
Nice.
Yeah.
Probably another silver for me. Maybe a bronze.
Yeah, I would
The
probably.
oranges are probably a little bit too just plain.
I've not.
Orange.
I don't think I've utilised the bubble a lot.
Yeah.
So I think I would probably utilise this in the
Bronze silver
Yep.
bubble.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Bronze silver bubble.
Yes.
This has some things that I really, really like. I'm
Yeah.
really fond of, and
Yeah.
it has some things I'm not overly
Yeah.
fond of.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
The
had
thi- we've all
Had a bit of a discussion about this
one.
yesterday.
Yeah.
It seems like they're meant to be caustics, or
Yeah.
he's underwater.
Yeah.
But it's perhaps not presented clearly enough to read that way, or maybe we're reading it wrong.
Things that are really in its favour. This area here is
Yeah.
lovely, and then the face is the way that light is casting itself on his face is really, really appealing to me.
Yeah.
But what kills me is this lantern light here.
Yeah.
And personally, I think it's a really big missed opportunity for this seashell to be the same color as his shirt and this. This could be,
Yeah.
I don't
So much
know, a paler white, maybe going to these pink tones.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I appreciate the harmony between the two and the subtlety. Like, it doesn't always have to
Yeah,
be.
yeah. Of
But I
course.
do think
Or just a little bit of those other tones added in there as little lines
something
or something to
something
break
that
it
we
up a
hear
little bit.
every year is this is Masters, right?
Yeah.
So,
This is mine.
Yeah.
This is Masters.
The other thing is,
What do you
for
mean?
me,
well, it's solidifying your point that you're making.
Yeah.
Is that at Masters you can't.
you need to
Do
make
more.
it present well as an entire piece.
Yeah. These are a bit flat.
Yeah. The other thing with this, it's so if it's meant to be presented underwater or above water, I think the fact that I can't pick an atmosphere that it belongs
sure,
to
yeah.
Is what undersells it.
So we're not seeing the intent as clearly as we would hope.
Because if it was underwater, a lot of those red tones be completely washed
Yeah.
out.
This little orb here as well is sort of
Yeah.
like, is it glowing? Is it? It's an eyeball.
It's an
okay,
eyeball.
cool.
Yeah.
I've seen it
Actually,
I'm
don't-
looking at it from the back. I'm like, hang on a minute.
I don't have
don't
as
remember
much
that.
problem with this as you do.
Okay.
It's a rusty porthole.
Yeah.
I kind of like it, but the thing that I don't like so much is the way that the texture is implemented
How is it?
on this.
Let's talk about the illumination, the illuminating elements. It's sort of pretty flat. I think you broke Storm with rusty porthole.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's one of those things where if you have to ask, is this illuminated? Is it not? What is this meant to be? That's
Bronze, bronze silver bubble.
Yeah.
I do like the leather here.
I love the leather. I love the face.
leather texture, like it's caustic in
Yeah.
the shapes of the. So yeah, this could go silver,
Put this in.
bronze silver bubble.
I would go bubble. I would actually. I'm going to be the terrible person. I would say that this would probably sit bronze for me.
Bronze? Okay.
It's going to be a close one.
But again, this is why there's three of us.
Yeah, yeah.
I like this.
So I feel stronger about the last one than I do about this one.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if
Yeah,
that
that's fair
one,
enough.
if that went to
I
bubble,
like this more.
yeah,
But that one is
Better.
better technically,
Yeah.
and also, yeah, there's some areas of this that aren't so good. Like the hair is quite weak on this compared to other parts. So this is a solid bronze.
the hair is really affecting the this stuff is really nice, like the robot
And the-
synthetics,
yeah.
the
and
cyborg.
and
it's
the, the
good.
non-metallic on the weapon.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is
I think the weapon's
strong.
probably the best part.
Kitty's cute, but half of her is hair,
Yeah.
like half the figure is hair.
Yeah.
So if the hair's
And the hair is the weakest part, and it's
Yeah.
dragging it. It's a bronze.
bronze.
So the axe blade in this is magnificent,
Yeah.
Yeah,
but that's the best part.
yeah.
Although the texture here is very, very nice.
I'm in bronze for this. I really like the axe head, but it's sort of where it sort of.
This model is a tricky one to paint, I think, because
Yeah.
you've got such a big flat area
lot of-
here,
a lot
and
of
there's
stuff
a
going
lot of noise here, so it's got to be balanced.
It's
and,
the-
and then this
Desaturation in the metal that I find challenging.
yeah, bronze.
Yeah. I think that's one of the ones where technically it's really lovely done, but in terms of presenting as an actual piece, it falls off.
Yeah, it's lost a little bit of its.
Could use some temperature nuance in other areas.
This is I have this in.
Bronze. This
It's very cool.
is totally awesome,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but yeah, the rest of the model is quite flat.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I have this in bronze.
You want to cut it?
Commended.
Commend it?
Yeah. I'd go for this one. Is the visor is gorgeous, but it's
The only thing that really gets higher for me.
Yeah, look, I can see it falling. It's been bronze at its last two other events, and
Yeah.
we do see this as time goes on. Things
Yeah.
do tend to slip through, so
but also like having a look at the hair, at least from where I'm sitting, it's
Sorry,
such a
team.
big feature.
I'm a little bit far out, so occasionally it's got to come in with me.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
they can
there's
hardly see you holding it in the other view.
the face is quite flat.
Yeah.
I think the painter is
Yeah, no,
definitely.
you guys have you brought me on board for
Commended.
commended this one.
There's some not really nice parts like this non-metallic metal.
Yeah,
Here.
where it's at in its journey, it's commended.
I feel nervous just handling this.
So I'm straight up to commended for this one.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yep.
22 left,
Yeah. No, I think commended is.
and we've got an hour.
There's some other ones that are a bit. It's close. It's close. I'm going to go commended bronze bubble for this. I think actually because there's some. Just want to have a look
Okay.
over there once. There's some commended bronze bubble.
You're really gonna have to go.
We did last year as well. Like we were here till 7:40 last year. Like, it's just we can keep staff in, we can't keep everyone.
Yeah.
This is solid.
Yep.
This is a stock scene, so it's just a painted model.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it needs to be painted to a very high level to elevate it in some.
This is a technical display, and I think
It's pretty
technical,
good.
yeah.
But where does it hit? Is it silver or bronze?
for me, this one's probably.
Bubble?
I'm probably in bronze for this one.
I go bronze.
It's the very top
Bronze.
I'd like to ban all use of the word bubble from now on. All right.
I'm being very select with my use of that word. Thank you, pal. Little Deno.
Teeny
Cut.
tiny Deno.
You want to cut it? Is it just because Deno keeps coming over and chatting?
No, I don't know. I don't. He looks 70 years old, and it's a portrait.
Look, I appreciate the humour in it. I appreciate
I
the
do
hand
appreciate
sculpt of it.
Yeah. It is what it is, but it's not a competition model.
I guess the question I have is the commitment.
It's probably
to-
Flip over to here, like we've just got like black stuff just wildly coming
Yeah.
up over here.
Yeah, I think.
non-deliberate.
This is Masters.
Yeah,
Yeah, if it was executed
Let me go
better.
and put that on the table.
yeah.
That's a cut. Thank you very much. It's an attractive model, though. I'll say that.
Beautiful.
I think this is a commended at best for me. It's one of these
As
classic
of-
things where it's just everything is super smooth,
Yeah,
like
it's
smoothing.
too smooth.
It's smoothing the
Please, in a scene like this,
Send it.
you must
Paint this
paint this black.
I'm
Yeah.
probably. I do enjoy some of the things in here, but for
And
me,
this is an example of getting the Terminator
Yeah,
right. Like
yeah.
the Terminator and light lines are right, so it has to
Yeah.
go higher than commended just for that to me. Because we've given.
Yeah. And the backdrop is
1 hour.
it's
So I d-
suggestive, but
I think the termination lines can be fine, but for me, still, I have
It's
this.
quite airbrush.
Yeah, I have this in the cut for me.
Cut.
Yeah. It's so like if we go back here, like, a lot of this stuff in here, like it's not doing enough for me personally.
I mean, I guess how well have they actually celebrated the sculpt itself with what they've done versus just kind of applying paint to it?
Yes. How do we represent our Lord and Saviour as Orc? The Defiler.
Yeah.
Oof. Love me the White Orc.
Got a hold on my.
What are you saying? Cut.
I would probably be. I mean, the softy in me says commended, but also,
This is Masters, and this bar.
yeah,
Yeah.
that.
It's pretty egregious.
Well, it's also if it was just on a plinth and it was unpainted, I'd be kind of okay with it.
Yeah.
But the atmospheric scene, it's
If you do atmosphere, every part of it
it's
has to be
breaking the
atmosphere.
atmosphere.
Well, it's in front of the backdrop.
Yes.
It's kind of like you're sticking a giant sticker on a window. You're not being able to look past it.
Commended cut bubble because I want to just make sure we compare it to what's over there.
Yeah, sure. I think it'll find its way to us.
This might need a zoom out. Yeah, that's good. I think the exposure now is just a bit high, or maybe not. No, it's just the metallics are reflecting. So, this is solid. I think this is a high silver, maybe gold.
I have challenges with this piece.
The scale.
It's the scale for me. It's the scale changes. It's the shift. I like the movement of this piece a lot.
Yeah.
When I get into sort of the metals and stuff, like it doesn't really get there for me.
Doesn't get to gold.
No,
Or it's
no.
a silver at least, right?
If it was a silver, to be sort of
Low silver.
the lower silver side for me.
What about you, Nat?
Just looking at the armor or something, I haven't much of a chance to yet. I would probably put this low silver. I think it's the sense of scale is quite jarring with these. You are dealing with a fantastical subject, so like you kind of have to suspend a little bit, but it's
I've debated this figure
yeah.
quite intensely.
Yeah, we spoke about
Yeah,
this.
yeah. I'm comfortable with it, the base of silver. That's fine.
I'd like to put this in silver. I think it does commit to the abstract in a sense, even just in the basing and things like that.
Yep.
But I think it is pulled down
fine
by
with
the
that.
scale.
Yeah.
Silver.
This is fun.
Yeah. This is. You were saying things that make you feel something.
Yeah.
This is cute.
Yeah. It's well executed. It's well painted. The only glaring thing for me that kind of sticks out is the fatness of the stem. But nature is weird and chaotic
Yeah.
at times.
Scale.
The scale is a little off.
No. At scale, the stem could, like, we're blowing it up.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
This could be a very
Could
small
be.
flower.
I do think there's a little scaling stuff with the leaf size, but it's not. Again, they could be a little bit smaller. These could be a little bit bigger.
Reward ideas
Yeah,
like
yeah.
this, I think. So,
I have
but
this
I don't know
really
where this-
firmly in silver.
Silver. I think it pushes silver on strength.
Strength of the painting is a little bit on the lower side, technicals, and like
This one does appreciate a little bit as you zoom on this for the actual Sealy element itself.
Yeah.
If you want to bring that in, and then we'll just drop that exposure a little.
yeah. So you guys strong silver on this? Yeah, is that what you think?
Yeah, I mean, talk me out of it if you
Yeah,
if you're
I'll put
feeling.
it to silver. It's
I don't want to.
Well, then there we go.
Yeah.
This is an interesting bust.
It's a cool model, very cool model, and it's reasonably well painted, but also has its flaws. Colour choice and that is very nice, but it's quite blotchy in some really important areas.
This fan brace, for example.
And the big thing that I noticed as well is the wrist is completely separated.
Yeah,
It's a bronze,
Yeah, it's a
and it should be higher.
Look at this huge. Like it's completely separated.
What? So you're cutting it out of bronze?
I mean, we've hit just as egregious for a mold line. Like,
Well, that's not as bad as a mold line to me.
what about all of this sort of like the glue under here and all this sort of stuff?
Barely see it
Okay.
unless you go looking for it. What do you guys think? I'm okay to put this in bronze, but
That's a bronze commended bubble for me.
So when I first picked this up,
maybe I'm seeing
Yeah.
more in it because of the model being so good.
yeah, I think my first, like at a distance, my first impression was silver. I'd sort of closer up, I'd go down to a bronze.
Yeah.
I think it's
Bronze commended bubble is
Yeah.
okay then. Bronze commended bubble.
It's very dark.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is everything on this
Yeah.
model, the
Yeah.
flame,
Yep.
and everything else is lost.
Including the face.
I need to see what else is over there, but this is bronze. And it could be commended.
Just
so
for the time being.
we're not supposed to say that anymore.
No, you can say it if it's appropriate.
Go between bronze and silver.
Yeah.
Exposure.
I mean, bronze and commended. It's a very darkly painted model.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So between bronze and commended.
I see what you're doing now. I was like, are you really not going to use this?
I don't like it myself. I've been using it too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how much I like mixing scales.
Yeah, it doesn't get there for me.
She was at Guilds, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was at Guilds.
I think the paintwork on the face is nice.
This has got some really lovely elements, like the
Yeah.
I'm going blank here because we're
Acrylic.
going for like 5 hours. No, not the
Yeah.
acrylic, the material, the satin, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
satiny sort of inlay. I really like that. You know, some of the cloth I really like, but there's some things I don't. I don't sort of much like these elements down here. I just find them to be a little bit sort of have an
The
afterthought.
terminator between the red and purple light here, and I don't know why this is purple here, but not on the
Yeah.
sleeves and down here.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it just a tone? Yeah, see,
I think it's
that's tonal shift in the reading color of this. So this is actually changing to purple because look, it's got terminators in it. I don't know. I can't tell what that is, and the intent
Yeah.
isn't clear, so that makes me unsure. This is a commended for me.
I like elements, I dislike elements. Like I think these scrolls and non-metal metallic around it is nice. I could see this in bronze.
Between bronze and commended, I think.
Yeah, I'd probably push into commended for this one.
Okay.
Than bronze. Again, it's the whole thing of there's some really lovely parts. The force perspective is, it's almost there,
But not quite. Yeah,
and the
solid.
mounting of the actual sort of the larger bust element to the model, I think. The fact that it's got terrain underneath it, kind of, it breaks that immersion.
Yeah, I mean, its challenges are
Yeah.
very
I
much
I kind of wish this part, this pole wasn't here, and
Yeah.
it was connected at a point over here, and it was just hanging in the air.
Yeah, or
And it had
if,
some negative space.
or if that kind of raised up slightly
Yeah.
to kind of occlude that.
Yeah, and this is
Anyway,
the
this
thing
is-
with this piece. It's
Breaking down.
yeah, with this piece, it's playing with some scale. It's doing some things. Does it get it right? Probably not in that area.
But
however, that
I do want to
overall,
reward with
yeah.
this, so
Yeah.
I think it might push me up to bronze. So
Okay.
bronze. Now this one, I really like this from a distance, and this is the first time I'm seeing it up close. And now that I see it up close, it doesn't hit as hard for me.
Yeah, from a distance, this piece is gorgeous,
Yeah,
but it needs to operate.
better up
Closer.
close.
We talk about respecting the sculpts and respecting elements of the sculpts, particularly around metal areas. And I understand that it is challenging when we start to introduce lots of atmosphere, lots of different sort of lighting elements. But
But
this
that's
is
where
just
the
not
extra leg
technically.
goes in.
This is not technically.
And this
high
is
enough
another
for me.
one where we've got an atmospheric scene with the paint
Yeah.
that black, please.
Yeah. I think this happens when people are working with like a two-dimensional piece of art that they're pushing towards where it starts like it seems to always be that all of the volumes are there and the values, but it's like all of the execution side seems to be left.
Yeah, I had this probably marked higher. I was probably thinking this was going to be a silver, maybe even a gold, but it's probably barely a bronze.
I think it's a commended.
Maybe even
Someone-
commended.
Someone said, "Don't be a cod, cover your rod."
Don't be a cod, cover your rod. I love it. I have this in commended,
So, what do
I'm
you
happy to
think?
link to that.
and I want to just focus on one element. If we can just turn around, this is really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
And the
It
colour,
looks like it's glowing.
it's too commended is too low. So between commended and bronze, I just want to compare it with
Really,
other
judge.
things.
Yeah.
Between commended, and so the bubble thing.
I just thought it was.
it's been
we turned from bubble to
overused.
between. Have I missed something?
Just a place to be able to revisit if needed.
The revisit zone.
Yeah.
When I first saw this, I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
The more I look at it up close now, some things I'm a bit disappointed with. This is absolutely,
Yeah, it's luminous.
it's the best part of the entire model.
Do you know how you had an instance earlier where you're like, I can't tell if it's the painting or the sculpt I really like? You remember that?
Yeah.
I'm in that instance with this one.
Yeah, so this is really poorly executed, unfortunately. Like, the wood is just...
It's just Ratma.
It's all very basically done.
Yeah, I don't have this in metals.
And when I first saw this, I had it higher, but as I look at it more, I think it's a commended. this here is probably silver level, just this ball, but yeah, commended.
Okay, we're going to do this one next so the blue tack doesn't have to stay on as long.
Which horn? You've been punished once before, you poor.
I love it. Love the censorship.
So, I've had the pleasure of judging this.
Yep.
This rod. Yeah. This rod.
It could just be like a wooden,
It drives me bonkers that this rod wasn't painted, because I think it actually really impacts this figure.
Yeah.
I have some challenges on this figure with the way the anatomy was covered.
This is a hard figure to
But
paint.
overall, I do really enjoy this figure. I've previously judged this at a silver, and I'd be happy to look at it either in the lower part of silver at this event or the higher part of bronze.
My vote's for silver on this one.
silver.
Silver.
I think I love the presentation.
There's so much.
And the way they've done the background and the tones and the colours have been just...
Yeah, cool. Silver.
Alright, you can take that blue tack off her teddy now.
Free, what is it? Unslip the nip.
Free the nip.
Look, you can argue with Twitch TOS.
It's under the rules of art.
Depends on who's looking.
Exactly.
It's an interesting take on this one, right? Because it's, I think for the most part, it's bone armor, but it's not been done as bone.
Yeah.
This take, it's done as a more,
The thing that kills
beaten
me
and battered.
with this
Yeah.
is the eyes.
You don't like the eyes?
I need to have a look under the...
One of them's blind.
She has a milky eye. An old milky eye.
Have a
Yeah.
lean in and...
Sorry, I'm probably stealing is completely out of frame.
That's fine.
For me, it doesn't read well enough as a milky eye.
Okay.
Um,
What's your initial thoughts, both of you?
Silver.
Silver.
I mean, just on the benefit of the rest of it, I would be more than happy with that for silver. But
And it's a higher silver, I think,
yeah.
with the potential to go to gold for a few other, for a few parts. But this is strong.
Yeah, it
This
was,
is very strong.
everything's been polished to a consistent degree. The amount of detailing and attention on the armor is gorgeous.
Yeah. And the bone work. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
it's a very strong one. High silver.
It aligns with the game.
Bastard.
It's another high silver for me. We're getting close to.
Yeah.
Must be getting
Yeah.
close to
I'm
the gold
less,
range.
less high on this one.
Still silver though.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably have that in between.
In the middle of silver.
No, in between, like.
Silver and bronze.
Yeah, but
why?
it's like-
Why?
Oh, it's just.
How does this go down to bronze?
Let me have a look.
That's.
I feel like I can ask the same for how are you getting it to silver.
Well, tell me why.
What's
you think
taking it
it's
down from
bronze.
silver?
Well, I just, it's just is. It's, like around here is just fine. It's just fine. Like
So-
it's
For me, this is a really, really lovely high bronze.
yeah.
Because it's... all the detail is really nicely done, but it just needs to be pushed further.
Yeah, I mean, like what about it is like when I think about silver entries, I think they've got something that's like getting you, Whereas this one here, I just think it's like a well painted bust. And I think when we start to see them aligned with other things around that pool, like I'm happy if you want to put it in that space. I think if it goes in that area, it's probably
Between-
something that's getting moved. Yeah.
Can you just angle it towards me for a moment? Yeah, okay. Because, I mean, for me, it's also a case of having a look at it. So the sword is painted so well that it's almost distracting from the face. So
All right,
in
let's
terms
put it
of
between
consistency-
silver and bronze.
We've got a Warhammer piece on a plinth.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm ready to like get hard for that.
Yeah.
So this is better than the other
Yeah, I think this is better
Belial
than
we
the
had.
Belial.
Where did the other one go?
I
Because
think
it's
the
not
other-
that much better.
The other one went to commended.
This is a bronze.
Commended?
Yeah.
Sure. Well, it's definitely better than the previous Belial.
But it's not quite.
But is it
it's not a
better?
silver.
Is it better in the way that it gets it to a bronze?
Yeah, definitely
No.
bronze.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, with the texturing on the cloth and the detail that's been paid to that, yeah, I think that pushes that up to bronze for me.
Could even be a high bronze.
Yeah. Started right at the top of the bronze.
So this one's definitely going in the bubble.
It's the baby in the bubble. I think this is great.
Yeah,
Like
this one's just
Can you
fun.
zoom out a bit?
Yeah, Mum said no.
you can't.
I don't think you're gonna be able
You can't
to.
get this out.
Can't see it.
Far enough. There you go. It's gonna be
I
out.
think
Actually,
that's actually pretty good.
Yeah. So the stuff I like really enjoy on this is like all the color shifting around the figure, like into the warmth and then the cool. You know, the subject matter's fun. I think this kit's been fairly changed, like from what it initially is. I think it had elements that needed to be broken and repositioned. So
Yeah,
there are some flat elements. The face is a little flat. I think it could have been done a little more nuance and a little more value. But like, I don't think it hurts it in any way.
Where does it fall?
It probably falls for me. I think this probably falls. This could fall at like the top of bronze or in silver.
Bronze.
Like, yeah. Like base of silver, top of bronze.
Between.
Yeah.
I'd go. I mean, if I can't go between, I'd probably go at the very top of bronze, and that might move.
Yeah, sure.
But
Between silver and bronze.
No, top of bronze is fine. I said the same thing.
No. Okay. Yeah. Top
yeah.
of bronze. Then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said bronze. Didn't I?
Yeah.
So this is a very well painted face, and everything in it is.
the tiniest head in the world.
The camera can zoom. Sweet boy.
I need more.
But it's just a head.
I need more.
Yeah, you need more zoom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
This is a really well painted face.
yeah, it
But
is.
it's just a face.
Yeah. Well, and it's an awesome necklace too. I like the way.
Yeah.
Well, the wood on the beads
Yeah.
is really.
But it's
really
just a
lovely.
face, so.
I don't know where to put it though. Like I could go silver for this, but is a really well painted face enough?
I like this more when I had it in my hand than when I
Yeah.
saw it on the racks.
Yeah, well, I think
I think silver. I'm going to stick with silver on this. I think we should reward really good painting like this.
Yep.
yeah. Well, it's the different elements of like if you push technical skill high enough, it will go past the edge of.
As
Is
long as
this
it
just a
doesn't
head?
move into the too refined and start to become
Smooth out,
sterile.
yeah.
So, but it's not. So
Yeah,
I think-
it's.
But it can't get
He's
higher.
still
than-
good
It's painted.
and
It's
wrinkly.
painted.
really get higher
It's
than
painted
silver.
too well for,
Yeah.
for that. Yeah.
This is great.
You just Lincoln chat.
What did this boomer do? We've clearly
that
hit.
part of the afternoon.
Yeah, we've hit that part of the afternoon.
What did you do?
He just put the link the size of
Massively. Just to give him something saying enhance.
enhance. Yeah.
I saw the link and I was like, that's too long.
No, but I literally saw your decision of, yeah, right, enter.
All right. Pull it together, please.
Yep.
Lock in, please. Yeah.
Whew, okay.
That is very not in frame.
Yeah.
croissant.
It's a beer in a
It's a
in a helmet.
croissant.
It is.
It's a metal
Yeah.
croissant.
It's
It's reinforced croissant, thank you very
Exactly,
much.
armoured croissant.
this is probably like I don't actually think there's anything in this bracket. I don't think, but
This is the first that I think is close to gold.
yeah.
Right?
I have it.
This
I have
gap
it.
is unfortunate.
I can like have that debate about it being close to gold,
Yeah.
but I don't think it is gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll put it
I
in
have
the
it at
bracket.
the, of like the top of silver.
Yeah,
is where
I
I
saw
have it.
that.
The very top of silver is where I have this.
Can we put it between the two and judge the final placing later? Like whether
I feel like that isn't underutilized bubble. So.
Yeah.
between gold and silver.
Yeah.
Part 3?
The King of Thule returns again. And I won't need to be prompted this time.
No, back. That's good.
I think this has got an incredible mood.
This is fantastic. This
Yeah.
is one of the best we've seen so far.
Yeah, I really appreciate the atmosphere involved in this.
Is this liquid part of the original sculpt?
No, I think it's
Great addition. Is this flower part of the initial sculpt?
yeah. There are some like color choices, but I mean, getting hung up on people's color choices.
This shadow here is too harsh.
But you know how
for the
we
amount of volume change.
you know how we talked about a previous one, like having color in the throat.
Yeah, exactly. And
This
it's
is-
got
it's here now.
heaps of
Yeah.
colour, and in the hair as well.
Yeah.
And in the robes everywhere. The non-metallic in the crown is beautiful.
Yeah.
And
And also,
I really enjoy. I enjoy this space a lot, and I enjoy even more that everything around it supports it.
yeah, it's also I'd like to point out my love of the fact that the fur is included in the atmospheric lighting.
Yeah, of course. It's, yeah. I mean, and I think, look, like, I think the gold is probably some of the weaker sides
Yeah.
on the cup. The
Yeah,
crown is better than the
underside of
cup.
the
The braces are better than both, but
Yeah.
they're not taking
But
away from this
I
at
still
all.
think this is our first gold.
I am in agreement.
Yeah, and the attention to storytelling in like his shirt and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yep.
the
Yeah.
old stains.
Yeah, it's
The hands are so old and weathered, and the
Yeah.
nails.
I appreciate
framing.
that everything is like delineated. Like I
Yeah.
can see all the
Everything's been
elements.
black
Everything's
lines,
been.
yeah.
Everything. The separating of the elements has occurred. Like, you know, could it be better? Sure, but you know,
Yep.
Yeah.
Gold.
gold.
Okay, so I'm going to hand this one over. I've been told no makeup brush on this.
No
Yeah.
makeup brush on this.
Pigments.
I would presume so. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm happy to just like open salve on this.
Yep.
I really love this.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that
Gloss on the orb,
it has got so many different and interesting elements to it.
and they've all been respected.
They've all been respected. I love the backpack. I love how everything has been positioned on the backpack. I think any areas that would be challenged, I know we're near close enough to be challenged out, like to move this out of gold. Like
Yeah.
this is an immediate gold for me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Beautiful on
I
that
feel
one.
like that's one of the ones of the less said, the better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's another one. Getting to the end of the pile here, but this
Yeah.
is a pretty much straight gold for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is, I mean, sometimes there's
I've already
yardsticks
judged-
as you refer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've already judged this at MPO recently,
Yeah.
and I gave it a gold there. And it's. I was wondering whether it would hold up in hand, and
It has.
it has, and it's.
I've had the pleasure of seeing this kind of come together, and it's just
So
yeah, it's
the transition here to green, I think, is probably one of the weakest areas, but that's a very small critique.
And
Yeah.
sort of like in here as well, but
Yep.
again, it's not.
It's a
they're
small
not. They're
critique.
not.
It's not
tying-
important
yeah, they're
areas.
not taking away from
I'd
it.
really love this patterning in the
Yeah.
in the wool.
So
and-
one
and
thing
the
I wanted
shell.
to talk about is like when with like cast shadows, right? Oh, the first thing I wanted to do with this, I wanted to turn it, right?
yeah,
and when you turn it and that cast shadow doesn't interfere on a different angle,
Yeah.
you know you've got something quite special there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and that really needs to be acknowledged. So
And
I think this is a
you can
fantastic
see like
piece.
there's different sheen finishes. So like
Yeah.
you can see that they've done the matte work in here to make sure it doesn't shine as you look through it. But then as you come, it goes back to satin within the
Yeah.
light. I love it. Love it. This
one
is the
thing
goal.
I'll also say is that so me sort of going on about fabrics and stuff this entire time. So with the fabric, especially with knits and things like that, there is a little bit of stretch to it.
Yeah,
But
it
every
parts
fabric,
a little.
yeah, it's consistent. You can see what it's meant to be. Every fabric is immediately recognizable as what type of fabric it's meant to be.
It reads.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
it's just-
and even like these little tonal and temperature shifts within the feathers
That-
here, the warmth and
very
temperature.
understated the hands, how good the hands
Yeah,
are.
there's little liver spots in the
This
hands.
is magnificent.
I'm gonna jump in with like sometimes
How
you
about
see
we just go
things-
gold and move to the next one?
Come on, we talked a lot about a lot of the early commended stuff.
Yeah.
Let us
Yeah.
talk about the really good ones
Yeah.
too, Dino. Don't ruin the fun, mate.
Yeah.
What do you want to say?
He's a-
It's good.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'll be honest. I'm not quite sure how this. Like, I think this one's been just put where it fit on the table.
Possibly.
I have this a lot. We were on some big highs,
Yeah.
and then we're going to come back down to earth a little bit. Like I have this.
Wow.
I have this sort of in the sort of like bronze.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Commended.
yeah. I can be easily, comfortably convinced to commend
It's
it.
cool.
Yeah, commended
Yeah.
it is.
Yep.
Sorry, Crabman.
Good
Oh,
angles.
crap, man.
Good angles.
Yeah, good
Yeah, like
angles.
it's
The
a really
composition.
lovely polished piece as well.
This
but
is sweet.
Zoom out.
Zoom out a little bit.
Yeah. Just get a little bit more of the.
this is what I'm really torn on.
Yeah, I have some issues with this as well. I think
Yeah, but
there's
it's
a lot
cool.
of- yeah,
Like it's cool, man. It's super
is.
cool. Like it's just funky. Like,
And I think this is one of those things of like the strength of the actual concept and how everything comes together and you feel about a piece is
Yeah.
really.
and I'm hella into this.
Yeah.
Like it just gets me
It's
going.
not even like.
You know, I'm a passionate man, right? So sometimes I'm not even going to find the
Yeah.
words to express,
So-
but I just get
so
talked for it.
talked, yeah.
I'm talked, man.
Fully
Like,
talked.
It's like gold, right?
yeah, it's a gold. Yeah, get it in there.
Fully talked gold!
Now this is the other side of Andy. You know, I can get high and then I can get low.
Now you're gonna get into it.
really
Yeah.
like this
Yeah. Okay, well go on.
So, what I love about this piece is exploring what you can do with bus, right?
Yeah.
And plinth bus as well. And this is one of the best uses of decorating a plinth that I feel that I have personally seen. I do think that there is a lot here, but it's not harming it in any way. There's some,
Just there.
oh shit. So,
That is.
no, you see, this has been made really well, so it's not falling off.
So if you casually knock it over the arm doesn't fall off.
Yeah.
So if the
do
judges
have
just
to
decide to
admit
break it, it didn't break.
That I love the thought involved with this one rotten.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the rotten one, the fruit. I'm into this. This is into gold for me. I mean, I can talk more and more about the color shifts, the way the colors shifting, the nuance in the colors. But to me, it's just, you know,
Yeah. I
Deno
don't think-
wants us to keep it punchy.
Yeah,
so
I don't
have
think
that in
it's
gold.
technically as powerful as some of the other gold, but in terms of the
I
actual,
don't think it has to be as well.
yeah, that's it. It's carried by everything around it.
Storytelling.
Dave.
It's not a gold for me.
Okay.
The composition is very strong, and that pushes it higher. It's on the cusp, so I want to put it between and just where we see the final choice. But you guys will end
That's
up pushing
fine.
it
I
into
will.
gold. I think.
I'll have a.
Between silver and gold.
I'll be warmed up on that.
Okay, the last
They'll
of the
warm me
small
up.
ones left.
Yep. And we've got 4 big ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
God, this is going to be a lovely scale jump.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's only 5 o'clock, isn't it?
5:30.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. 30 minutes.
time
early.
Let's go.
Well, that shield is.
It's good, isn't it?
Oh wow, I didn't.
I like this piece.
I'm gonna hover. Yeah, right.
This is
Unfortunately, the base is the part that lets it down. Like it could be like reduced in size by.
in the. I would like to put this right next to the little dwarf for the moment to be discussed.
Little dwarf.
This
Can we have the tiny dwarf, please?
What, croissant?
croissant.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
croissant.
Like they should sit
Yeah.
equal at the moment.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, because if that's gold,
Well, this is
This
the
is
only thing.
better in terms of the base. The
This
base
is
isn't
better.
as good on this, but the painting is better on this.
Yeah. And this is right now it's the only thing in the.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, sorry.
Between
There's a
gold and
Sealy
silver.
in there as well, but
Yeah.
that'll
Yep.
okay.
they'll both just go.
I feel like I'm being given a lot of responsibility right now.
You'll be fine.
I've already broken one.
Let me do this.
That's
For
right.
you.
Yeah, Deno likes to step in for the.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna
Whoa! Wiggy wiggy wiggy.
the wobble. The wobble is
Weeble wobble.
You good? Yep.
yeah.
Just do one by one.
Yeah. I'm just gonna.
Dante.
That's one of the sons, isn't it?
No,
Oh, damn it.
You did a good job though, bud.
Tried.
he is the
He's the
warden.
embodi-
He's the
almost
warden
the
of the null.
embodiment.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's the warden of
Warden.
the null sector, isn't he?
Nihilist.
Nihilist sector. Sorry.
In
Purple
modern
things
law,
look
he's 1,000 years old. He's done a lot of things.
He is a blood angel, yes.
Yes, he is.
Said fire.
So
Dante himself
I
is
love Dante.
magnificent.
Yeah. There's just some compositional bits and bobs that are challenging on this piece.
Yeah.
I'm
the background is overdone a bit.
yeah,
I
I
think.
find it a bit overcooked.
It's
But it has quite a majesty about it. This piece.
It
and
does.
And it's. I don't have them taking away from this piece personally.
but where does it land?
Will it blend? That is the question.
I think this is between gold and silver for me.
This can probably
Like it. Jeez,
The
this is a
scope
tricky
of it
one.
makes it so hard to judge.
It,
but
it does.
I would potentially look at silver, like really high silver.
Yeah. That's where I think I land too. I feel bad not giving it gold because of the amount of effort involved, but you can't just give something a gold because it's
Yeah.
had a high amount of effort.
Yeah,
It's
effort
gotta
doesn't
be the
equal-
whole. It's got to be the
effort
whole
doesn't never-
scene how it turns
doesn't
out.
always
And
equal to
sometimes like
reward.
that high risk is wanted. I want to reward it because
Well,
I
it's
love
risk for a
when
reason.
people. Yeah, and it is risk for a reason, exactly. So okay, we'll put it in the border of gold and silver, but it probably will end up in silver.
No, sometimes you don't need to say anything, right? If I've not said anything, it's just because I'm in agreement and I'm going to repeat what
Yeah,
you
okay.
said. So,
Okay, so we'll go.
do
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
Mandalorian.
You'll be fine.
Just a second. Only 3 left.
Yeah.
3 left.
3 left.
And then we can roll it all back.
Yeah. Nah, it's okay. That's pretty easy.
As a background, this is far stronger.
The background is overwhelming the piece. It's still very good. I don't know. This is my first time judging this, I think.
This is my first time judging this since we were in the competition together.
Yeah.
No, I tell a lie. I judged this at Guilty. I
Okay.
tell a lie. I judged this at Guilty.
Just out here spitting lines.
It's still a gold.
Yeah, it's a goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would you like me to help now?
Which one do we want next?
That one.
Let's do Illidan and let's go all the way around.
Yeah.
Hands of a surgeon.
This
friends.
Do you want
mount,
to just cup underneath, mate? Just
Yep.
be a
Yeah.
keeper
this
for us.
mount seems ridiculous.
Yeah. Can we detract points for taking years off the judges' lives?
Yeah.
Meh.
This is a gold.
This is a gold.
And a conversation for a best in.
We don't say that here.
You didn't hear that. Pretend we didn't say that.
Yeah.
I think we've said that in the past before. So. Does anyone disagree?
No.
Nope.
There we go. That's what I thought.
I have faith in the brass rod.
It's actually really sturdy. The only part, I actually spoke to the painter. The only part he said the rod
wood-
is tough as nails.
it's
It's
the
just
linen,
the
isn't
little bits. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
Bits and bobs.
It'd be the resin surrounding it is what I'd be worried about.
Yeah, that's in the bubble between gold and best in show.
Yes. Yes.
I'm gonna come hover over your shoulder.
Go for, I don't mind.
I think
There's
formally
no
we
doubt
would
this
just
is a
say
gold.
it's a gold, and then we
Yeah.
can probably finish here because that's everything,
Yeah.
and then we'll go into.
Just let me enjoy it for a
You
moment.
you're going to get to enjoy it after this.
Yeah, but I want to talk about it.
Oh,
Okay.
oh, that
What would you like to
shadow.
talk about?
The shadow on the rock.
And the little jinx tattoos on the back, all the
The
writings
little-
and stuff. Yeah, that's awesome.
The graffiti.
The graffiti.
A little bit of water running
Yeah.
out of this pipe. That's
Yeah.
a nice detail.
Yeah, this is the same. Yeah.
Jinx was here. I like the light
Oh, is this
coming
okay?
out of.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's almost like
It's Vi is for violence.
Violet, and Jinx is her sister.
Yeah, I got that far, but
That's the background.
Do you know I once
So-
served the director of Riot?
Did you?
A little negative is that the skin is quite grainy, but that's just a little negative.
Yeah.
If
They
that's
will
the
be-
first thing that you can pick out, that's a
Dave,
pretty good
Dave
negative.
says, I want to enjoy this model, and the skin's real grainy.
Yeah.
Good feedback.
I said a little negative. A little.
That's going to be the finer points of a further
Yeah.
discussion later.
Yes.
Excellent job. This is in gold.
Yeah,
Correct.
I agree.
Well
Yeah,
said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, everyone, I've just chimed in here. Hello, it's Deno. You can probably see me on this camera
This
right
side,
next
yeah.
to Dave. Hello. Just want to reiterate that everything that was discussed on this stream is not finalised yet.
Yes, of course.
We have to go through and make final deliberations.
We
so
do.
Some of those things that we gave out may change
We said
as
this
we
at the start
review
of the
everything.
stream.
I'm just reiterating, and it will be changing, FYI.
So don't get your hopes up.
But big
You'd be nice to in
appreciation,
public.
big appreciation to the judges. Big appreciation to Joe and Seamus for helping out and ferrying models back and forth. Amazing effort. Big thanks to Bunny and Sebastian on the stream managing the workflow, and of course to our judges again. Excellent work. Thank you, everyone. We're going to close off stream now and go and talk about who wins this whole thing. And we'll see you tomorrow at the Crimson Brush. Bye bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Big